Chapter 53. Chu Tian went into closed-door cultivation for a few days and used up 5,000 pieces of meteorite grass, which was worth around 60,000 gold coins. He had finally managed to cultivate the starlight immortal body. But there was still a large gap from the small success glass body realm. Cultivating the cultivation technique did not require a constant amount of materials. As the cultivation technique deepened, it would increase exponentially. With the current size of Miracle Commerce's Miracle Commerce, it would be hard for a single person to cultivate. Not to mention taking out a portion of the money to invest in Miracle Commerce's other businesses. Not to mention training other people, not to mention that Chu Tian could cultivate other cultivation techniques. How was this cultivating? It was simply burning money. But in the process of cultivating, Chu Tian had gained quite a bit. His cultivation had reached the peak of the 8th body refinement layer, but the increase in his cultivation was not very obvious. But the power of the stars had cleansed his body, the strength of his meridians and spirit energy had all increased by a large amount. Chu Tian's physical strength had increased by several times. This was without a doubt a solid foundation for the future. As long as there was a supply of materials, it wouldn't be long before Chu Tian would be able to cultivate the glass body realm. Miracle Commerce was a group. Without a strong enough person to oversee it, once it grew larger, it would be hard to make ends meet. So in order to increase the strength of others, Chu Tian was not stingy with his experience. He personally guided several core members in their cultivation. On this day, Meng Qinggu, Meng Yingying, Xiong Tianyan, and Zhang Liqing were all present. The few of them voiced out their doubts about the difficulties they faced in their cultivation. Chu Tian answered them one by one and guided them one by one. With a vision that was 30,000 years ahead, this was not a joke. Chu Tian's P had several more tricks than a normal person. He did not dare say that he was invincible under the heavens, but in terms of theoretical knowledge, he definitely had a strong vision. Every piece of knowledge was the accumulation of tens of thousands of years of wisdom. Every theory was the result of countless predecessors' research. No matter how profound the problem was, it could always be solved with the simplest method. Chu Tian's suggestions were always heavenly and extremely creative, giving people a lot of inspiration. Their progress in the starlight immortal body was not as fast as Chu Tian, but they had already touched the threshold. To them, this cultivation technique was just too profound and too obscure. The few of them listened with rapt attention. At this moment, Nan Gongyun suddenly rushed in with an anxious look on her face. Chu Tian. Something big has happened. He threw a pile of newspapers to them. One after another, shocking headlines appeared in front of everyone's eyes. People Times headline, uncovering Chu Tian, an illegitimate son of a traitor. Tiannan Daily headline, Chu family suspected of stealing Chu family's secret technology. Golden Business Journal headline, fishing for fame, deceiving the world. Chu Tian is a big liar. Mercenary Weekly headline, shameless Chu Tian. Making a fortune by stealing technology. You don't deserve to stay in Tiannan City. Everyone was stunned. What was going on? The media that had been singing praises for the past few days seemed to have eaten several genes of aphrodisiac. In a single night, they all changed sides, wantonly condemning him and wildly bombarding him. There were 3 main points. 1. Chu Tian was a traitor. 2. Chu Tian was an illegitimate son of the Chu family in Central State City, a bastard without any status. 3. Chu Tian's technology was not his own, but rather when he defected from the Chu family, he stole it from them. Chu Tian was directly portrayed as a despicable, shameless, sinister, and deceitful person who stole his family's technology. Seeing a ghost. These bastards could think of anything. Without a doubt, Tiannan City was once again shaken. Chu Tian was once again pushed into the teeth of the storm and Miracle Commerce once again became the focus of everyone's discussion. Miracle Commerce was like a shooting star, but in just a few short days, it was thrown down from the clouds to the bottom of the valley. This dramatic turn of events had caught the citizens by surprise. Of course, the success of the Source Energy restaurant caused countless people to be jealous. These articles were well-founded. It was as if Chu Tian's entire life experience was dug out. A 16 or 17-year-old youth, how could he grasp this kind of advanced technology? It was impossible. There had to be a problem. All kinds of questioning voices came one after another. Zhang Liqing knit his brows and said, "This is too vicious, they want to ruin Chu Tian's reputation." Xiong Tianyan impatiently said, "Bullshit. Do people actually believe these things? Let's quickly explain it." Nangong Yun's beautiful eyes flashed with anger. She slammed the table into pieces, her phoenix eyes opened wide as she angrily roared, "Fuck. What use is there in explaining? These bastards are playing dirty tricks on us. This old lady will go and destroy them. You guys calm down." Meng Qingwu was holding back her anger, but ever since she took charge of Southern Cloud Commerce, she had experienced many big and small waves, so she did not lose her mind. This matter has nothing to do with the media. Then it must be the Chu family. Nangongyun angrily said, "The Chu family's ability is only concentrated in Central State City. What does South Sky City count for? What is there to be proud of? My Nangong family is still a large family in Imperial City." Meng Qingwu quickly said, "Because of this, it is even more strange. This matter was clearly done by the Chu family, but the Chu family does not have any foundation in South Sky City. Do they have this kind of ability to change the public opinion of South Sky City in one night?" "You're saying," Meng Qingwu solemnly nodded her head, "on the surface, this matter seems to be caused by the Chu family in Central State looking for trouble. But in the end, there is still a local power causing trouble. Without them secretly fanning the flames and supporting us, the situation would not have suddenly turned around." She understood that the Ye family and the Du family had deep roots in South Sky City. It was under their coercion that all the major media outlets changed sides and cooperated with the Chu family to attack. It was a conspiracy from the beginning. First investigate Chu Tian's identity. Then leak the news of Chu Tian to the Chu family. Finally provoke the conflict between Chu Tian and the family. Using all kinds of resources, they weaved a large net. Yi Xiong was hindered by Nangong Yi and Zhang Liqing, so he could not directly make a move against Chu Tian. So he thought of this method of borrowing a knife to kill. Meng Yingying worriedly asked, "How should we deal with this?" "Don't act blindly, this is only using public opinion to create momentum. The real killing move has not been made yet. We can't stop their mouths, let them say what they want. We can't do nothing. This is related to Chu Tian's reputation. Don't worry, these words may seem shocking, but if you think about it carefully, it will be full of flaws. The more we explain, the more people will say. Why don't we wait quietly for a few days? It's best to wait for the limelight to pass and for everyone to calm down. I will then mediate and change the direction of public opinion. Otherwise, if we act rashly, we may fall into a new trap." Meng Qingwu was very calm. She was obviously very experienced in dealing with such a crisis. Chu Tian thought, "Too passive, we should take the initiative to attack." Meng Qingwu said with a bitter smile, "Attack? They have the upper hand." Chu Tian narrowed his eyes and scanned through the newspaper, an unfathomable smile appearing on his lips. "It's just a facade. The idiots think they have the advantage, but they don't know that they have dug a big hole and buried themselves in it." Dug a big hole. Buried themselves in it? What does this mean? A few guards ran over in a flustered manner. "Miss, bad news. There are a lot of people outside. They are about to charge in, we can't stop them." The sky was gloomy and dark clouds hung low. Faint flashes of lightning could be seen, it was a depressing atmosphere of a storm. Several hundred armed men swarmed in, surrounding the main door. Stones and Molotov cocktails were thrown into the courtyard. A sharp shout was heard in the main hall. Chu Tian bastard! Come out for me! Chu Tian had hyperfocus and his mind's eye, making him invincible in the same realm. Not to mention he had recently cultivated the starlight immortal body. As long as he did not meet an awakened soul cultivator, he did not care. Not to mention he had Xiong Tian Yen, Nangong Yun, and Zhang Liqing to protect him. Let's go out. Chu Tian swaggered out. The weather is gloomy today, but everyone is so passionate, this one is truly flattered. Stop talking nonsense. You traitor of the Chu family. We were blind, we never would have thought that you were this kind of shameless villain. A few guards dressed in the Chu clan's attire were glaring at him furiously, as if they were facing an enemy who had killed their father. Among the crowd, there was a 30-year-old youth. He was tall, his aura was condensed, his eyes were like two dots, and his voice was like muffled thunder. It was clear his spirit energy was deep, he was a peak expert. If this kind of character was in South Sky City, he would not be much worse than Xiong Tianyan. The surrounding crowd began to discuss, this time Chu Tian was truly in big trouble. Everyone, I am Chu Yi, Central State Chu family's fourth elder's son. Chu Tian is the shame of the Chu family, he should not be living in this world. The Chu family was kind and spared his life, but who would have thought that this thief would not be grateful and would even steal the family's core technology? This so-called new technology, it all came from the Chu family's research institute. That is the life's work of the Chu family's elders and sages. Chu Tian not only stole the Chu family's secrets and tarnished the family's reputation, he also injured the people who came to argue, causing the tragedy of 1 dead and 2 crippled in the Chu family. Such a cruel and unscrupulous thing, such a vicious and merciless person, if he is allowed to live, there will be endless troubles in the future. When the crowd heard this, they were all filled with righteous indignation. No wonder Chu Tian was able to create so many miracles at such a young age. After all this trouble, this fellow's things were all stolen from the family when he betrayed the family. I never thought. He was actually such a scum. You are not fit to be in South Sky City, quickly scram. Everyone, let's suppress this scum. Kill him. Kill him. The crowd immediately began to shout. If one looked carefully, it was not hard to see that these were the Ye family's mercenaries, deliberately guiding the crowd's emotions. The crowd's emotions were stirred up. Everyone was filled with righteous indignation. Chu Yi loudly shouted, "Capture this thief. Execute him on the spot." Several fierce Chu family guards suddenly rushed out from the crowd, looking like they wanted to capture Chu Tian alive. Scram! Nangong Yun's delicate voice exploded, a palm shot out, the palm wind was like a wave hitting the guards, instantly pushing them down. Who dares move? I'll kill him. Chu Yi's eyes flashed with a cold smile. In front of everyone's eyes, the mayor's daughter still dares to protect this traitor? Come, capture him. Dozens of people rushed out from the crowd. These were all experts from the Ye family and Du family. A fierce pressure suddenly erupted from the distance, a deep roar came out, "Who dares capture people in front of my eyes?" Nangong Yi jumped out from the beast carriage, like a hawk flying through the crowd, he landed in between the two sides. The mayor had appeared. When Chu Yi saw Nangong Yi appear, he was not surprised at all. "Mayor Nangong? My Chu family is capturing the traitor, what qualifications do you have to stop me?" Chu Tian came from the Chu family. Chu Tian was an illegitimate child of the Chu family. This news really surprised Nangong Yi. However, if one were to say that Chu Tian's knowledge was stolen from the Chu family, Nangong Yi would not believe it even if he died. If the Chu family had this kind of background, how could they settle in a small county? Wasn't this a big joke? Then again, an unreliable illegitimate child, how could he grasp the profound meaning of the mind's eye? An unreliable illegitimate child, how could he find a way to control crystal oil? If the Chu family really had this kind of background, how could they research the source energy lamp and the source energy pot? How could they not have any news about it? If you want to punish someone, you can always find a pretext. Nangong Yi stood in the middle. He was not angry, his powerful aura suppressed everyone. A trivial junior dares to put on airs in front of this mayor. If Chu Jiangshan has the guts to come, I'm interested in exchanging a few blows with him. You. Chu Yi's complexion slightly changed. This Nangong Yi's tone was really big, he actually wanted to exchange blows with the family head. The Nangong family was one of the kingdom's 3 great families. Nangong Yi was only a branch family. Nangong Yi took a step forward, a powerful pressure, like a mountain-toppling sea, suddenly forced everyone to take a step back, still not scramming. Do you want me to make a move? Mayor Nangong, such a powerful official. At this time, a low voice came from the crowd, but you are using your status and power to interfere in the private affairs of the Chu family. I'm afraid this is not appropriate. Who was it? Everyone was shocked. Who in South Sky City dared to speak to the mayor like this? Chapter 54. A slightly fat balding middle-aged man calmly walked out. This person had a sharp hooked nose, his eyes were as sharp as a hawk's, his whole body was filled with a strong aura. Although it was not enough to compete with Nangong Yi, it was enough to block Nangong Yi's might. An awakened soul realm cultivator. Nangong Yi's face slightly changed. Why would this fellow appear here? Luo Yuanshan gave a taunting smile. He took out the white jade token from his chest and raised it up high, loudly announcing, Main City Supervisor's Office, Law Enforcement Elder Luo Yuanshan is here. The Supervisor's Office was the main city's authority. It was directly under the Central State Main City's mayor's palace. It had the authority to supervise the various military officers and administrators. This was a very powerful department. Luo Yuanshan continued to loudly announce, Nangong Yi has crossed the line without permission, interfering with the Chu family's internal affairs. This is against the kingdom's laws. This elder cannot just sit back and do nothing. I ask the mayor to stop interfering until this matter is clearly investigated. Nangong Yi's face was cloudy. Luo Yuanshan confidently said, Mayor, my words are very clear. I ask the mayor to move aside, don't waste everyone's time. The supervisor's office was the main city's authority. Nangong Yi's position was already unstable. If the supervisor's office took this opportunity to cause trouble, perhaps Nangong Yi would not even be able to keep his position as the mayor. Would Nangong Yi still dare to move? Nangong Yi realized, this was a conspiracy. What do you want? Sir Mayor's question is wrong. Luo Yuanshan had a righteous look on his face. The Chu family's matters, you have no right to interfere. I also have no right to interfere. How to deal with it, you should ask the Chu family. Chu Yi sternly said, the crime of betraying the clan, there is no way to live. This thief not only betrayed the clan, he also stole the clan's secrets. He should be hacked to pieces and bitten by 10,000 insects, in order to uphold the prestige of the Chu family. Did you hear that? Luo Yuanshan snorted, gently waving his hand. What are you staring at? Drag this thief away from me. He will be hacked to pieces and bitten by 10,000 insects. Meng Yingying clenched her fists in anger. Not only did they frame Chu Tian, but they also wanted to use cruel torture to kill Chu Tian. Before Meng Yingying could speak, everyone felt the ground beneath their feet tremble slightly. Nangong Yi's city lord robe fluttered even though there was no wind, and a surge of fiery energy surged out of his body. The dense yuan energy released an intense fiery light, and a suffocating heat wave enveloped a radius of a few hundred meters. Boom boom boom. The volcano source spirit slowly appeared. A terrifying aura burst out. A destructive power began to brew, like a volcano that had been suppressed for thousands of years. Once released, it would destroy the heavens and earth. Luo Yuanshan turned pale with fright, retreating a few steps, his forehead dripping with cold sweat. Nangong Yi. Don't tell me you want to make a move against the people of the Inspectorate Manor? Are you tired of sitting here? Nangong-yi sneered, "It's fine if you don't want to be the city lord. As long as I, Nangong-yi, am here, I will not tolerate the success of ordinary villains." Chu Tian's value far surpassed that of a city lord. Even if it was a cultivation technique to train one's spiritual energy, Nangong-yi would still protect Chu Tian to the end. Luo Yuanshan's imposing manner fell into a disadvantage, but he still fiercely roared, "Nangong-yi. As the city lord, you have disregarded the laws of the kingdom. What crime do you deserve? If you want to punish someone, you can always find a pretext." Nangong-yi's imposing manner became more and more powerful, even releasing a strong killing intent. "Luo family is just a trivial elder. Do you really think I will put you in my eyes? Even if I kill you, can the law punish me?" To put it bluntly, in this world, strength was everything. Nangong-yi did not have any way to legally protect him. Then he could only use violent methods. No matter what, he had to protect Chu Tian. Luo Yuanshan did not think it would be like this. The entire plan was built on the assumption that Nangong-yi would retreat. Who would have thought that for a waste brat, Nangong-yi would not even want to be the city lord? When Chu Tian saw this, his lips curled into a faint smile. Actually, Yi Xiong's reaction, even his current methods, were all within Chu Tian's expectations. After the summit, Chu Tian had already made his preparations. "These grandsons want to fight with me?" "Far from it." Nangong-yun excitedly laughed, "Good job. That's my dad." Luo Yuanshan was riding a tiger. It was hard to get off, so he steeled his heart. "The city lord is determined to protect this thief, breaking the kingdom's laws, and bottom line, as a judicial elder, I have to protect the law and protect the kingdom's dignity." "Good. Elder Luo is truly righteous. We'll lend you a hand." Several figures landed around him, Yi Xiong, Du Zhentian, Li Changyun, and several other top experts. The many experts instantly surrounded Nangong-yi. Awakened soul cultivators teamed up to deal with the city lord? The onlookers were all shocked and panicked. Nangong-yi angrily smiled at the many awakened soul cultivators. "Good. Since you want to make a move, don't say this city lord didn't give you a chance. All of you come together. The city lord is righteous, this old man will help you." Zhang Liqing gently stepped forward, like a gust of wind, teleported several meters away. Floating next to Nangong-yi, a pair of giant blue eagle wings appeared on his back. "Gee!" An ear-piercing eagle cry exploded in the air. The blue spirit energy condensed into the shape of a giant eagle, soaring through the 9 heavens, disdainfully looking down on all living things. A strong and powerful pressure covered everyone present, a sharp killing intent, making people tremble. Nangong-yi's strength and anger were brewing to the extreme. "If you want to fight, I'll fight. In this fart-sized South Sky City, I've never been afraid of anyone." A small Chu Tian wanted to cause a big battle between awakened soul cultivators. The destructive power of awakened soul cultivators was huge. If they fought each other, it would simply be a catastrophe. Nangong-yi, Zhang Liqing, only the two of them, had the advantage in strength, especially Nangong-yi. His cultivation was unfathomable, his volcano source spirit's destructive power was shocking, it had overwhelming power. The surrounding area was a densely populated area. Nangong-yi's volcano power, its destructive power was too strong. If it was used even a little, it would inevitably cause innocent deaths. Considering this point, Nangong-yun could not fight with all her strength. Zhang Liqing's cultivation was also very high, but 2 fists could not fight against 4 hands. Once the battle started, the two of them would inevitably be restrained. The Meng Qing Wu sisters were at a loss. The situation was out of control. The top powers of South Sky City clashed, the consequences were unimaginable. Once this matter became big, for miracle commerce, for Chu Tian, it would be very bad. What should they do? When the atmosphere of the scene reached its peak, a lazy voice, very untimely, rang out, "Sir City Lord, why are you so angry? It's not a big deal. First step back, this little one will say a few words." The entire conflict was caused by Chu Tian. The person involved did not have any awareness at all. Nangong Yi was so angry that he almost became muddle-headed. They already wanted to cut you into 1,000 pieces, you still act like you don't care. Do you even have a few lives? Under everyone's gaze, Chu Tian leisurely walked to the center, facing Chu Yi's group. You keep saying, I am a member of the Chu family, betrayed the family, and stole the technology, but now the problem is. Chu Tian revealed a cheap smile. Am I really a member of the Chu family? Everyone was stunned. What did these words mean? Did Chu Yi recognize the wrong person? Chu Yi angrily said, if you aren't a member of the Chu family, then did you come out of a rock? You need evidence to speak. Chu Tian revealed a treacherous smile. Where's the evidence? Why don't you take out the genealogy and show it to everyone? If the genealogy has my, Chu Tian's, name in it, so what if I stretch out my neck to be executed? Disgraceful thing. How can an illegitimate bastard tarnish the genealogy? That's strange. If I can't even enter the genealogy, how can I be considered a member of the Chu family? Since I can't even enter the genealogy, how can I be considered a member of the clan? Since I can't even enter the genealogy, what right does the Chu family have to use their clan rules to restrict me? These words came out. Everyone was stunned. The continent's clan system was very strict. Every descendant, whether it was a branch or a direct descendant, they all had to be registered in the genealogy. The kingdom allowed clan rules to exist, but the scope of the clan rules was not unlimited, otherwise what was the use of the kingdom's laws? The clan rules only had a limited scope, the scope was within the clan, the genealogy was how the clan was divided. A person who couldn't enter the genealogy would automatically lose all resources, privileges, status. They couldn't vote in the clan, they couldn't practice the clan's martial arts, they were no different from outsiders. Since they couldn't enjoy the clan's privileges, then naturally they couldn't accept the restrictions of the clan. If he didn't enter the genealogy, the clan wouldn't recognize him. How could he be considered a member of the Chu family? If Chu Tian wasn't a monk, the nature of this matter would be completely different. Yi Xiong never thought that Chu Tian would be this cunning. You're trying to confuse the public. Chu Yi was seething with anger. What a good treacherous thing. You have the blood of the Chu family in your body. The Chu family raised you for 10 years. This kind of disgraceful words, you still dare to say them? You really are a heartless and unscrupulous beast. Raised for 10 years. 10 years of house arrest. Although his memories had disappeared, Chu Tian could feel that those 10 years were worse than pigs and dogs. His father couldn't bear the torture and humiliation, so he brought Chu Tian to escape. In the end, one was chased to death and the other was reduced to a slave. Chu Yi changed his angle. You stole the Chu family's secrets, just this one point is enough to cut you into 1,000 pieces. Saying that I stole the technology, where is the evidence? Chu Tian saw Chu Yi's constipated expression, he smiled and shook his head. Please don't treat everyone as fools, anyone with a bit of brain wouldn't believe this kind of stupid words. Chu Yi bit down, don't even think about quibbling. Chu Tian looked up into the sky and laughed, his tone suddenly became tough as he loudly questioned him. Then, I'll ask you a few questions. The Chu family invented the source energy lamp and the source energy pot, but in half a year, they didn't even let out a fart. Instead, they let me set up a company in South Sky City and earn my first bucket of gold. Could it be that the Chu family is a group of good-for-nothings? If the Chu family really had these precious technologies, why would they be stolen by a trivial person who doesn't even have any cultivation base? Moreover, after being stolen for half a year, there hasn't been any movement or reaction. Could it be that the Chu family are all idiots? If I really stole the technology from the Chu family and was discovered by the Chu family, such a big matter, why didn't the Chu family have any reaction, instead sending a junior to deal with it? Could it be that the entire Chu family is dead? You answer me. Why? A series of questions. Sharp and crafty. Each one was aimed at a vital point. When everyone heard this, they suddenly realized that this matter was very strange, but the development was too sudden, so they didn't think too deeply about it. Adding in the fact that there were people fanning the flames, so their emotions were tied up. Yi Xiong, Luo Yuanshan, and Du Jintian's expressions all changed. Such a good eloquent mouth. The reason why they acted so quickly was to not give Chu Tian any time to think. They wanted to gain the upper hand by a show of strength, using a thunderous momentum. They wanted to get rid of him first. Yi Xiong had underestimated the importance that Nan Gongyi placed on Chu Tian. He had also underestimated Chu Tian's ability to fight a war of words. What a joke, this father came from 30,000 years in the future. I am the continent's youngest great sage. Usually when I have nothing better to do, I like to fight with those old farts. These fellows want to win against me? They're too tender. Chu Yi was speechless from this question. Yi Xiong saw the situation was bad. Such a glib-tongued thief. Do you think you can deceive everyone by inverting black and white? You keep saying that you didn't steal the Chu family's technology, but what evidence do you have to prove yourself? You spent 10 years in the Chu family, you escaped from the Chu family for less than half a year, you were even reduced to a slave. How could you have this technology? Luo Yuanshan nodded his head. Brother Ye's words are reasonable. First capture this person, lock him up, interrogate him, and investigate the truth. Chu Tian was locked up. Would he still be alive? Chu Tian gave a faint smile. All right, I'll prove it to you. Everyone was stunned. Could this little brat really prove himself? How about this, the Ye family, Du family, Luo family, Chu family. Chu Tian named them one by one. His smile gradually disappeared, his tone became stern, suddenly becoming very strong, like a thunderbolt. To tell you the truth, you 4 families waste, this father has never placed you in his eyes. So go ahead, refining, alchemy, talismans, any field is fine. I'll give you 3 chances. If I can't win even one, you don't need to do anything, just commit suicide. These words came out. Everyone was shocked. What kind of boldness was this? A single person challenging 4 families. Even if it was a knowledgeable master, they wouldn't dare say this kind of crazy words. Zhang Liqing quickly stood up and said, "Don't let your emotions affect your decisions, this is an impossible matter. Everyone has their own strengths and weaknesses, no matter how knowledgeable you are, it is impossible to cover everything." Zhang Liqing's attainments in talismans were profound. How could he say he was invulnerable? The strongest people here were those with the highest comprehensive attainments. Some were good at fire talismans, some were good at earth talismans, and in a large field, there were many small branches. Chu Tian disdainfully curled his lips. "Old Zhang, don't worry. This uncle will give them 3 chances to prove that I am an incompetent person. If they can't do it, then these fellows are a group of rice buckets. Why would I, Chu Tian, steal skills from a group of rice buckets?" Although they already knew that Chu Tian was crazy, they never thought that he would be crazy to this degree. He was simply insane. 1 person challenging 4 families. This was something that was almost impossible to achieve. Yi Xiong gave Li Changyun a look. Li Changyun understood. "Arrogant little brat, you're asking for humiliation, this old man will help you." South Sky City's Alchemy Guild's president, challenging a wet behind-the-ears brat. This was too unfair. Not to mention South Sky City, even if Li Changyun went to Central State City, he would still be considered a character. Chu Tian gave a faint smile. "Fine." Everyone revealed a look of horror. "But I'm betting my life and reputation, you can't just take it for nothing, can you?" Chu Tian said this, then suddenly paused. "If you lose, you will step down from the position of Alchemy Guild's president and leave South Sky City." "Ignorant old man, do you dare to bet?" Li Changyun's face changed. This brat was eyeing the position of president. The position of president was not just a title, the Alchemy Guild president had the greatest advantage in alchemy in the city. Once Li Changyun stepped down, Xiong Yan would most likely become the president of the Alchemy Guild, and Southern Cloud Commerce's alchemy business would instantly flourish. Adding Zhang Liqing's talisman support, Southern Cloud Commerce would be invincible. Yi Xiong's face was also gloomy. The Ye family being able to hold such a position in South Sky City was inseparable from Li Changyun's cooperation. If Li Changyun lost his position and left South Sky City, it was the same as cutting off one of the Ye family's arms. Chapter 55. A teenager in the body refinement realm dared to bet his life. An awakened soul cultivator. The president of the Alchemist Guild. He was a famous and influential figure. How could Li Changyun be afraid in front of everyone? He could only say with a gloomy face, "I accept your conditions. This immature brat can beat me? A guy who doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. What a joke. Since you are not afraid of any challenges." Li Changyun's mind came up with a sinister plan. Then this old man will use the art of refining poison to exchange pointers. Poison. Was he going to make poison? Everyone's face slightly changed. Zhang Liqing's expression became serious. Li Changyun was very utilitarian, he especially liked to take advantage of others. He studied the heretical path of Pan's Gate, his skill in refining poison was famous in the entire central state. If he wanted to poison someone to death, no one would be able to escape. Chu Tian was not afraid at all, he laughed loudly. "Old man, you are not afraid of death, what do I have to be afraid of? You can decide the rules, I'll accompany you to the end." He readily agreed. "Seeking death. Don't blame me. Ha, 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 your ignorance and stupidity is rarely seen in this world." Li Changyun laughed sinisterly. "You and I will refine a poison, exchange for an antidote, then take the antidote with the poison. If there is no poison, then you win. If the poison is activated, then you lose." The audience felt their blood run cold. How was this a competition? This was simply playing with one's life. Both sides would refine a poison and give it to the other, then they would refine the antidote on the spot. The antidote and the poison would be consumed together, and the one with the poison would be defeated. Refining poison was easy, detoxifying it was difficult. How dangerous was this? If one was not careful, they would lose their life. This was not only a test of one's skill in refining, but also a test of courage and courage. The worries in Yi Xiong's heart immediately disappeared. Li Changyun's poison, no one could detoxify it, anyone who was poisoned would die immediately, this brat was dead for sure. This way he could kill Chu Tian in this competition, to avoid a direct confrontation with Nangong Yi. No. This is not fair. Meng Qingwu's eyebrows knit together as she walked out. An awakened soul cultivator can refine level 2 medicine, while Chu Tian can only refine level 1 medicine in the body refinement realm. This kind of level suppression competition is simply unfair. Xiong Tianyan also expressed his position, this doesn't conform to the spirit of alchemists. They can't be compared. Li Changyun's words were sharp, who can you blame for your arrogant words? There's no way out now. Either admit defeat and accept your death, or fight with this old man. Meng Qingwu said angrily, the one with the surname Li, you are also a famous person. Aren't you afraid of being laughed at for being so shameless? Li Changyun disdainfully said, against a shameless person, there is no need to talk so much about morality. Xiong Tianyan cursed, you old dog. Who was the shameless one? I think you're shameless to the end. Li Changyun was also angry, Xiong, you have no right to speak here. Old bear, young miss, I'll have to trouble you to go back. Chu Tian calmly smiled, I remember saying that some old thing isn't even qualified to carry my shoes. Even now, these words are still the same. If he wants to compete, then I'll compete. Why would I, Chu Tian, fear a fight? Arrogant. Arrogant. Even Chu Tian had said this. Meng Qingwu and Xiong Tianyan had no choice. Lee Chang-yun was so angry that he almost suffered internal injuries, but he forcefully suppressed his anger. Like a dead duck, he would like to see how long he could be proud. Lee Chang-yun coldly reported the list of materials: ghost-faced spider, six-colored centipede, corpse scorpion, scarlet blood toad, two-headed viper, one of each. When everyone heard this, their expressions changed. 5 different poisons, any one of them could kill a 9th body refinement layer cultivator. 5 different poisons were mixed together to create a poison. Even an awakened soul cultivator would not be able to escape death if he took it. Nangong Yi's and Zhang Liqing's expressions changed. This old man wanted to refine the 5 poison water. The 5 poison water, as the name suggested, was made from 5 different poisons. It was a mixture of different poisons, so the ingredients were very complex. Not to mention, after being refined by a source energy array, the ingredients were even more complex. Even the refiner himself would find it hard to detoxify this poison. Meng Yingying and Nangong Yun were originally confident. At this moment, he was still sweating for Chu Tian. Meng Qinggu tightly pursed her lips, her body trembling. If he didn't succeed? She didn't dare to imagine it. This young man who wasn't tall, at this moment bravely stood up, like a tenacious reef, resisting the torrential waves. Chu Tian also reported the list: blood demon essence fruit, 3-leaf flower, morning grass. The young man was calm, not impatient, like he was doing something unimportant. Meng Qinggu looked at his handsome face. That pair of calm eyes seemed to have a calming effect. The anxiety in Meng Qinggu's heart inexplicably disappeared. What Lee Chang-yun asked for were all poisons. Chu Tian's ingredients seemed ordinary. The contrast between the two was so big, people were even more worried for Chu Tian. Yi Xiong whispered to Lee Chang-yun, "Grandmaster, are you sure? This person doesn't play by the rules. Relax, this kid really has some skill. He wants to refine the blood demon essence medicine. This is indeed a level 1 poison, one of the most violent poisons." Lee Chang-yun clearly understood Chu Tian's plan. He confidently smiled. If it was any other alchemist in Tiannan City, they would have a hard time dealing with this medicine, but for this old man, it doesn't pose a threat. The ingredients from both sides were quickly delivered to the scene. The two people immediately took out their tools to refine. Lee Chang-yun prepared 6 refining bottles in a row. First, he refined each of the 5 poisons. Then, he combined the 5 poisons and poured them all into a single refining bottle for the final refinement. Nangong Yun was very puzzled. What kind of technique is this? I've never seen it before. Chu Tian is in trouble. Xiong Tianyan wrinkled his brows. This is a very high-level alchemy technique. What's going on? First, he separately refined the 5 poisons. After the alchemy array's reaction, these poisons completely changed. Then, he fused them together to refine the medicine. The entire alchemy process goes through 2 alchemy arrays. The changes are impossible to calculate. This way, no one knows what his 5 poison water is made of. Nangong Yun's eyes widened. First he refined the 5 poisons, then he used the 5 poisons as ingredients to refine a new poison. He can actually do this, although Lee Chang-yun's character was not good. No one dared to question his skill in alchemy. Chu Tian had a refining bottle and a set of alchemy arrays. He refined the medicine step by step without any changes. The entire process was like a normal alchemist refining a normal medicine. The medicine gradually turned bright red. From the color, it was indeed the blood fairy medicine. The blood fairy medicine was a type of poison. It would cause the blood in one's body to coagulate. Finally, one's heart would stop beating and they would die. Chu Tian being able to refine the blood fairy medicine showed that his skill in alchemy was not shallow. But this level of medicine, could it really be used to deal with someone like Lee Chang-yun? Everyone sighed. This kid was dead for sure. He dared to accept the Alchemist Guild leader's challenge with this little ability. Both sides finished refining at the same time. Li Changyun exchanged for the poison. When he saw the bright red medicine inside the bottle, he revealed a disdainful sneer. Blood fairy medicine? You've already lost. Chu Tian held the 5 poison water. Within the dark green medicine, there were constantly bubbles. Chu Tian calmly said, "Is that so?" Li Changyun coldly laughed and said, "After drinking the 5 poison water, your entire body will fester and you will die within 10 breaths. Your corpse will be enveloped by the poison and your life will be extinguished." What a terrifying poison! Everyone retreated, creating a large space. Chu Tian disagreed, "So powerful? Then I really want to try it." He picked up the 5 poison water and shook it a few times. His eyebrows slightly wrinkled, then relaxed and a smile hung on his lips. "Now, let's start making the antidote. I want the fig fruit, light cleansing insect, 9-leaf ginseng." Li Changyun was very confident as he calmly reported the list of the standard antidote formula. This was specially made to neutralize the blood fairy medicine. Li Changyun was indeed experienced, immediately refining the antidote. The bad feeling in Nangong Yi's heart became stronger and stronger. Especially when he saw that Chu Tian still did not move, he quickly asked, "What antidote ingredients do you need? I'll help you find them." "No need." Chu Tian's words shocked everyone. What Chu Tian did next made everyone's jaws drop. He drew a source energy refining array on the spot and placed the 5 poison water in the middle. After the source energy refining array was activated, it suddenly released a dazzling light and the dark green liquid inside the refining bottle began to boil. What was he doing? Everyone was confused. Li Changyun also could not understand. Chu Tian did not ask for any antidote ingredients, he just placed the 5 poison water in a new refining array and began refining again. Was this guy crazy? What was the point of doing this? Actually, this source energy array was called the purification array. It was actually a very common array in the future and its main effect was to purify harmful substances and dark attributed energy. Under the effects of the purification array, any poison would be dissolved and become harmless. The 5 poison water refined by Li Changyun was undoubtedly a level 2 poison. But it was made from 5 different level 1 ingredients. Therefore, the substance in the 5 poison water was still a level 1 substance. Chu Tian used the level 1 purification array to easily eliminate the poison within. After a few minutes, Li Changyun poured the antidote of the blood potion into the poison refined by Chu Tian and looked at Chu Tian with a taunting gaze. "Can we start now?" Chu Tian had already finished refining the poison. The poison inside the bottle had already turned light green and was no longer releasing any bubbles. "You drink first or I drink first." "Insignificant skill, what's there to be afraid of? I'll let you see the difference between us." Li Changyun drank the red potion in one gulp and smashed the bottle. "The blood fairy potion is only so. Chu Tian raised his head and drank the 5 poison water in one gulp. Hiss! He actually drank it all. Everyone quickly retreated in fear. Chu Tian was now like a bomb, he could die at any time and his corpse would release a deadly poison gas, enough to threaten the lives of the people around him. "Chu Tian. How do you feel?" Nangong Yun, Meng Qinggu, and Meng Yingying were extremely nervous. Li Changyun revealed a cruel smile. "This kid really doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Do you think the 5 poison water is that easy to deal with?" Moreover, without the help of any antidote, he hastily refined the unknown 5 poison water, which would only make the poison more complicated. Even if a deity descended, it would be difficult to save him. Nangong Yi, Zhang Liqing, and Xiong Tianyan all stared at Chu Tian. 1 breath. 2 breaths. 3 breaths. 10 breaths had passed, not to mention death from the poison. Chu Tian's face was rosy and glowing, not a single thing happened to him. Li Changyun revealed a look of disbelief. "How is this possible? This taste. Chu Tian licked his lips and smacked his lips. Not bad, it tastes like sour plum soup. Everyone was so shocked that their jaws almost dropped. Such a deadly poison, in Chu Tian's mouth, turned into sour plum soup. Yay! Meng Yingying and Nangong Yun high-fived each other, excitedly cheering. Meng Qingwu's clenched fists gradually relaxed, her mouth hung a bitter smile. This fellow really makes people worry. How could you break my 5 poison water? Li Changyun's old face was gloomy. Impossible, this is impossible. Yi Xiong also knit his brows. Chu Tian really did have some skill. Luo Yuanshan stood up and said, both sides did not have any poison, so it's a draw. Chu Yi quickly said, this fellow promised himself that if he did not win, you would commit suicide. Now it's a draw, so you did not win, what else is there to say? That's right. Commit suicide. Someone in the crowd immediately responded. I think Chu Tian is better. Meng Qingwu's voice came, a 10-year-old youth, under the suppression of their levels, can fight Li Changyun to a draw, isn't that enough to explain the problem? Meng Yingying quickly shouted, elder sister is right. Yi Xiong insisted, a draw is a draw. Du Zhentian, a draw is not a win. That's right. Don't try to quibble. Both sides began to argue endlessly. The spectators began to whisper in their hearts. This kind of competition was enough to explain the problem. Chu Tian didn't have an undeserved reputation. Yi Xiong's group wanted to put him in a dead end. What was their intention? Ha, ha, ha. A draw? Who said it was a draw? The one who said this was Chu Tian. Everyone was surprised, they all looked over. Chu Tian's eyes were strange, he said in a mocking tone, this master, you wouldn't really think that I refined a bottle of blood fey essence poison, right? If you really think that, you're too naive. Chapter 56. If this wasn't the blood elf medicine, then what was it? Deliberately mystifying. Li Changyun had a disdainful expression, whether it is the ingredients or the color and smell of the medicine, they are all the characteristics of the blood elf medicine. How could this be fake? These ingredients are indeed for the blood elf medicine, but I made some slight changes to the ratio of the ingredients. If the ratio is changed, it will be completely different. What did you say? You were too careless, so you didn't notice that I added 5 times the amount of lamenting grass in the refining process. Li Changyun's expression changed, so what? The blood elf poison was a disguise, the lamenting poison was hidden, that was the true killing move. The lamenting poison is colorless and odorless, and it was covered by the blood elf medicine, so it was flawless. Lamenting poison. What was the lamenting poison? Li Changyun had never heard of it before, he forced himself to remain calm and said with a cold smile, stop bluffing, you were only refining 1 bottle of medicine from start to finish. That's because the 2 poisons were refined in the same formation. Including Xiong Tianyan, everyone present who knew how to refine medicine was shocked. 1 refining bottle, 1 refining formation, and 1 set of materials. How could 2 kinds of medicines be refined? If Li Changyun's second refining technique was considered a high-level refining technique, then Chu Tian's technique of refining 2 medicines at once was unheard of. Chu Tian continued, you used figs as the main ingredient to make the antidote, which is indeed the method to cure the blood elf poison. However, what you don't know is that the ingredients of the figs used as the antidote can cure the blood elf poison, but it can also increase the effects of the lamenting grass poison by 10 times. What? Li Changyun swayed a few times, his vision blurring, he could barely stand. The lamenting poison is acting up. Chu Tian's calm voice once again echoed in his ears, old man. You lost. Lost. Li Changyun lost. Li Changyun was really poisoned. Medicine refining techniques were miraculous, beyond the comprehension of normal people. The same ingredients, different ratios, the same refining bottle, the same refining formation. Chu Tian had refined 2 different poisons at the same time. One was exposed. One was hidden within. The most frightening thing about Chu Tian was that he had already predicted what kind of material Li Changyun would use to detoxify the poison. Through complex pharmacological effects, he could greatly increase the power of the hidden poison. No, no. This is impossible. Li Changyun lost his mind and roared. At this moment, his vision was blurry, and his mind was muddled. He was practically unable to distinguish between north, south, east, and west. It was even to the extent that the sounds in his ears were distorted and chaotic. It was as if a terrifying evil spirit was coiling around his body and emitting ear-piercing wails. Ignorant child. How could I lose to you? Li Changyun was hysterical as he faced the sky and let out a roar. A giant python origin spirit soared into the sky from his back. I want you dead. The giant python source spirit roared and released a terrifying spirit energy, but the moment the giant python was about to attack. Ah! Li Changyun let out a blood-curdling scream as he spat out a mouthful of blood and fell straight to the ground. The giant python's source spirit seemed to be corroded by some kind of power as its body began to break apart inch by inch, turning into ashes in an instant. His source spirit was heavily injured. What's going on? Chu Tian stood in the same place without moving because everything seemed to be under his control. Oh, I almost forgot to tell you, the lamenting grass poison is a kind of spiritual poison, it is not a fatal poison. But without removing the poison, rashly using your source spirit will leave a scar on your spirit and your source spirit will also suffer permanent damage. Li Changyun fell to the ground, his face pale and dying. You, powerful. Truly powerful. An awakened soul realm cultivator was played in the palm of Chu Tian's hand. Nangong Yi excitedly clenched his fist. Li Changyun has been defeated. According to the bet, he will be exiled forever. Immediately execute it. Li Changyun spat out another mouthful of blood. He completely fainted. Nangong Yi's eyes swept over them with excitement. Chu Tian was able to defeat Tiannan City's chief alchemist in one fell swoop in the field of alchemy. Who would still dare to call him a swindler? A swindler could defeat a person like Li Changyun. Wasn't this the biggest joke in the world? What are you standing there for? I am only a little thief who stole your skills, please teach me a lesson. Chu Tian's voice was filled with ridicule and ridicule. Don't you still have 2 more chances? Don't be afraid, don't be a coward. Whatever methods you have, just use them. Chu Tian had used his own strength. He actually dared to provoke the great families. Nangong Yun giggled, good. Chairman is so domineering, this old lady likes men like you. Quickly. Teach them all a lesson. The great demoness Nangong had no filter on her mouth, saying whatever she thought. Meng Qinggu and Meng Yingying couldn't help looking at her. The Ye family, Du family, Luo Yuanshan, and Chu Yi, all of their faces turned very ugly. Facing Chu Tian's unbridled ridicule and humiliation, and seeing the questioning gazes around them, they began to realize a serious problem. This time, not only did they fail to do anything to Chu Tian, they had instead shot themselves in the foot. Chu Tian loudly shouted, "What's wrong? It's only 1 round. Are you already scared out of your wits? Don't be arrogant. I'll fight you." Luo Yuanshan's face turned green with anger. I'll compete with you in talisman making. After competing in alchemy, competing in talisman making? Luo Yuanshan was quite famous in the main city, he was proficient in talisman making, he was not inferior to South Sky City's Zhang Liqing. Luo Yuanshan did not believe this. Chu Tian was so young, how could he know alchemy and talisman making? When Zhang Liqing and Nangong Yun heard this, they almost laughed on the spot. Competing in talisman making? This fellow was really out of luck. Chu Tian rubbed his chin. This is difficult, you're from the Central State main city, you don't have any assets in South Sky City, I'm using my life to play with you, what can you give me? You being able to win this round, it's nothing more than a blind cat bumping into a dead mouse, it's hard to guarantee that you didn't already plan this. This time, you have no chance of winning. Chu Tian shook his head, that won't do, I won't do it without a stake. Luo Yuanshan gritted his teeth, he pulled out a golden crystal, this is a 500,000 gold coin card, it should be enough to pay for your cheap life. Not enough. Chu Tian's eyes turned, I want the Du family's model manufacturing factory. What? Du Tian was shocked, he did not think that Chu Tian would suddenly have ideas about him, my Du family's property, how can I let a thief covet it? The Du family was in the military business. Their factory was the most advanced in South Sky City. Although this era was backward, the simple 3D printing technology had already begun to take shape. For example, to build a scabbard, the materials were placed in a source energy array, then the source energy array was activated, the materials would automatically adjust to the shape, creating a simple model. This was the 3D printing technology. In the era that Chu Tian lived in, from small parts to large spaceships, almost everything could be directly made using 3D printing, but in this era, they could only make simple models. If Miracle Commerce had such a factory, then the production speed of electric lamps would increase by 100 times, making tens of thousands a day would not be a problem. Du Tian had a factory with 3D printing equipment, it was worth at least 1 million gold coins, it could make up for Miracle Commerce's shortcomings. Luo Yuanshan and Yi Xiong both knit their brows, this brat really dared to ask for anything. Yi Xiong said, does brother do not believe in Sir Luo's ability? Luo Yuanshan also said, relax, he won't have any more chances. Du Tian was a little regretful. If he knew this would happen, he wouldn't have stepped into these muddy waters. The Du family did not have any deep grudges with Chu Tian, it was purely because Du Tian was afraid that if Chu Tian grew up, it would affect the Du family's business in the future. Now, not only would Chu Tian not be able to win, he would also have to form a hostile relationship with the mayor, Zhang Liqing, and Xiong Bing. Alright, I'll bet. Du Tian had no other way, he could only grit his teeth and agree. Luo Yuanshan coldly looked at Chu Tian and said, you also know, talisman techniques are a very important support in battle, a kingdom's talisman techniques is strong or not, it directly determines the strength of the kingdom's army. What I want to compete with you, is the power of talisman techniques. With these words, Nangong Yun and Zhang Liqing's expressions became serious again. What a cunning Luo Yuanshan! The quality of a talisman was reflected in many aspects, such as its effect, creativity, practicality, difficulty of making it, consumption, difficulty of using it, etc. Luo Yuanshan threw it all aside. He only competed with Chu Tian in the power of talisman techniques. Was there any comparison? Luo Yuanshan was an awakened soul cultivator, he could refine and activate level 2 talismans, Chu Tian was a trivial body refinement cultivator, he could only use level 1 talismans. This was a difference of heaven and earth. Luo Yuanshan had a scheming look on his face, what? Are you afraid? Chu Tian said without hesitation, isn't it just comparing the power of talisman techniques? I'll compete with you. He really wanted to compare power. With such a large disparity in strength, Chu Tian did not have any chance of winning. After all, with such an overwhelming power, it was hard to make up for it with skills, everyone was a little worried. All kinds of talisman materials were quickly sent to the scene. This talisman technique battle immediately began. Luo Yuanshan was indeed a famous talisman master in the Central State main city, with a crystal pen in his hand, in one breath, he instantly completed a level 2 talisman array on top of the beast's skin. A burning hot aura burst out, a strong power, almost penetrated through the paper, every symbol, every rune, was filled with a violent power. Zhang Liqing's face couldn't help changing, Level 2 Explosive Talisman. Nangong Yun also understood talisman techniques. Isn't this a level 2 talisman, one of the most destructive talismans? Zhang Liqing's expression became serious as he nodded. The explosive talisman is a famous talisman. Its power is enough to easily break an awakened soul cultivator's spirit energy, enough to pose a fatal threat to an awakened soul cultivator. Nangong Yun indignantly said, such a sinister fellow. This old thing had the advantage of cultivation. Comparing the power of a level 2 talisman technique with a level 1 talisman technique, it would not be glorious if it was spread out. Luo Yuanshan not only used a level 2 talisman technique, he even used the most powerful level 2 talisman technique. How could they compete? The gap between realms could not be crossed. This was just like a body refinement cultivator fighting an awakened soul cultivator. Talismans were divided based on the energy it consumed and released. In other words, the strongest level 1 talisman, in terms of total energy, could not compare to the weakest level 2 talisman. This was the gap. A gap that was hard to make up for. Chu Tian could certainly distinguish the type of talisman Luo Yuanshan used. The explosive talisman was indeed a classic talisman. Even after tens of thousands of years, after countless improvements, this talisman still existed. It had not been eliminated by the continent. Its specialty was its destructive power. If the difference in strength between the two sides was not much, Chu Tian could easily win, but in his current state, if he wanted to win, it would not be an easy matter. Of course, it was not like there was no way. Several ideas flashed through Chu Tian's mind, such as using the dust explosion talisman. This was a dual attribute talisman. It could instantly produce a large amount of dust and ignite a flame, causing a dust explosion effect. The destructive power was very shocking. Or he could use the laser talisman. This was a high-density compressed energy. The area of destruction was small, the penetrating power was very strong, the killing power was very strong. The dust explosion talisman was also good. The laser talisman was also good. These were all classic talismans from the future. If any of them were used, it would certainly cause a big stir, but it was not shocking enough. Chu Tian needed something that could shock the audience. With an overwhelming advantage, he needed to win. He needed to convince everyone, even making their eyes pop out of their sockets. Only then would he be able to completely convince everyone. A level 1 talisman array, could it really achieve this kind of effect? Chu Tian looked up at the sky. A thought appeared in his mind. Good, I've decided, I'll use it. Both sides prepared their talismans. Nangongyi said, this place is not suitable for testing, please move to an open space in the square. Chapter 57. Dark clouds hung low, the sky was gloomy, the wind was raging, the atmosphere was filled with killing intent. South Sky Square, people were moving, it was a sea of people. Countless citizens had come to ask, they wanted to personally witness this legendary battle. One was a 17-year-old youth, one was a mysterious youth. One was an awakened soul realm expert, the other was a high-ranking elder. Two people from completely different worlds, in front of everyone's eyes, they were going to have an unbelievable battle. Both sides were already prepared. What would be the result? This mysterious youth, would he be able to resist Luo Yuanshan's suppression, and once again make a miraculous comeback? The central plaza had a diameter of around 200 meters. All of the onlookers were blocked outside, leaving only Chu Tianhe and Luo Yuanshan. They were separated by 100 meters, staring at each other from a distance. They were already prepared. Luo Yuanshan asked in a clear voice, do you want to go first, or should I? I don't have any problems, other than being righteous, brave and fearless, loving of peace, respecting the old and loving the young. I can't change that. Chu Tian shrugged his shoulders, so, you are my senior, so please go first. Luo Yuanshan was not polite, he calmly took out the talisman, holding it between his two fingers, he closed his eyes, his body was surrounded by a strong wind, a red spirit energy fluctuation, suddenly spread in all directions. Ho! A red lion image, suddenly appeared behind Luo Yuanshan, the raging flame lion source spirit. Luo Yuanshan's source spirit was inclined towards the fire attribute. This meant that when he used a fire attribute talisman technique, it would have a certain degree of power increase. The talisman was like a sponge, crazily absorbing the surrounding spirit energy. The lines on it gradually lit up with a red glow. The energy fluctuations became stronger and stronger, finally reaching a critical point. Chi! A burning hot aura surged out. The entire talisman spontaneously combusted. Exploding flame curse. Luo Yuanshan wildly roared, "Go!" The self-combusting talisman released a dazzling flame, a dense fireball appeared in his hand, it quickly rotated, it quickly expanded, from the size of a fist, to the size of a washbasin, it finally expanded to the size of a water tank. The high-speed rotation stirred the surrounding air. Even the people standing far away. At this moment, he could also feel the scorching heat. Luo Yuanshan's 10 fingers continued to release spirit energy, forming 2 source energy arrays, stabilizing the incomparably large fireball, slowly raising it above his head. At this moment, the fireball's power was at its strongest. It was as if a small sun was being raised and it was emitting a blinding light. Everyone's expression changed. An awakened soul realm symbol master's strength was terrifying. Do you see that? You overestimate yourself. Luo Yuanshan wildly laughed. This is the strength of an awakened soul realm cultivator. What do you have to compete with me? Suddenly, a thought flashed through Luo Yuanshan's mind. Due to the fact that Chu Tian had defeated Li Changyun, Nangongyi already had a reason to protect him. Even if his talisman techniques were more powerful than Chu Tian's, he still might not be able to eliminate him. Why not beat him at his own game and kill him when he least expected it? This person must die. Even if he had to resort to any means. Do you think you're qualified to challenge me? Luo Yuanshan fiercely threw the fireball at Chu Tian. You don't need to embarrass yourself, go die now. This scene stunned everyone. This was clearly a competition of talisman techniques. Luo Yuanshan disregarded the competition rules and used talisman techniques to attack Chu Tian. A body refinement realm cultivator, how could he block an awakened soul realm symbol technique attack? Luo Yuanshan was deliberately trying to kill Chu Tian. This was simply murder, moreover it was an incomparably despicable sneak attack to kill someone. A dignified awakened soul realm cultivator, sneak attacking a body refinement cultivator. This is bad. Nangongyi and Zhang Liqing turned pale with fright. Nangongyi's source spirit was the volcano source spirit, its destructive power was incomparably shocking, it could threaten people several levels higher than him, but the volcano source spirit's power gathering speed was slow, it could not deal with this kind of sudden attack. Zhang Liqing released his blue spirit energy, turning into a majestic eagle, with an extremely fast speed, he soared into the sky, swooping down towards the fireball, forcibly crushing it. Hong! The moment the fireball was crushed, it exploded, a terrifying flame shockwave, mightily submerged everything. Chu Tian faced the surging flames, his 2 sword-like eyebrows suddenly twisted together, he suddenly clenched his fists, his body emitted a faint glow, both palms heavily pushed forward. In the next second, the flame shockwave completely submerged him. No! Meng Yingying cried out in fear, Chu Tian. Meng Qingwu's face was pale, her beautiful eyes were like 2 round balls. Nangongyun angrily stamped her foot, a phoenix cry filled the 9 heavens, she soared into the sky, a pair of phoenix wings appeared on her back, with a sudden flap, she was like a meteor, brazenly attacking. Despicable old dog. I will definitely kill you. Nangongyun's fists were like a violent storm, each fist contained an ancient and tyrannical strength, it was like an incomparably strong fire meteor. Luo Yuanshan's face changed, the raging flame lion roared, suddenly punching forward. Hong! The 2 of them both retreated a few steps. Luo Yuanshan revealed a shocked expression, blocking Nangongyun's punches, he felt his blood boil, a trivial peak 9th body refinement layer, actually able to fight against an awakened soul cultivator. This was not just a normal level, but an entire realm. This was the power of a god-level source spirit. It really was very terrifying. Nangong Yun was not an awakened soul cultivator, but she could fight against an awakened soul cultivator. Nangong Yi knit his brows. Yun stop. Nangong Yi knew his daughter's strength. Her direct destructive power was not inferior to a first awakened soul layer, it even slightly surpassed it. However, she was still in the body refinement realm. Her spirit energy could not compare to an awakened soul cultivator. A short burst was fine, but if she could not kill the opponent, then after a long time, her spirit energy supply would weaken and she would be at a disadvantage. Nangong Yun's phoenix eyes widened. You also saw it. This bastard sneak attacked Chu Tian. Luo Yuanshan coldly said, he was going to lose anyway, I'm just sending him to his death ahead of time. You're going to die. I'll send you on your way. Nangong Yi shouted, Chu Tian is fine. Lightning flashed in the sky, thunder shook the earth, only to see the pattering of rain falling down. At the center of the terrifying fireball explosion, there was an incomparably large pit. The surroundings were filled with scattered flames. Cool. Chu Tian climbed out of the pit with his face covered in soot. His clothes were burnt black and his handsome face had also turned black. Only his eyes were still black and white, bright like the morning stars. He laughed. On his black face, he revealed his snow-white teeth. I didn't see it before. It turns out you care about me this much. It can't be. You didn't die. Your life force is too damn strong. Nangong Yun let out a sigh of relief, patting her chest to calm herself down. You scared me to death. It doesn't matter if you die, but if you die like this, who am I going to ask for my salary from now on? Fuck, she really thought too highly of herself. Luo Yuanshan's sudden sneak attack, it was indeed very dangerous, but at the crucial moment, Zhang Liqing tore the fireball apart, causing it to explode ahead of time. Chu Tian had practiced the Starlight Immortal Body, his defense had been greatly increased, so he was able to block the strong shockwave. Although he was injured, it was not life-threatening. Nangong Yi's voice became ice-cold. Elder Luo is a member of the Supervisor's Palace. This kind of behavior is despicable. From what I see, there is no need for this competition to continue. The onlookers all nodded. One by one, they began to discuss. That's right, Luo Yuanshan really was a despicable person. Since these fellows were all despicable people, what was the point of competing? Chu Tian was innocent, no one would believe those slanderous words. Sir Mayor, this won't do. Chu Tian suddenly interrupted, this old dog has caused me so much trouble, if I don't get back at him, it's not my style. Nangong Yi finally found a way to step down, but this brat did not appreciate it, he simply could not understand. You still want to compete? Is there something wrong with your brain? Wasn't this nonsense? Compete, of course they would compete. 500,000 in cash, a factory worth $1 million, if these cooked ducks flew away, would you have to pay me back? Chu Tian stared at Luo Yuanshan, you used a talisman technique to attack me once, I'll use a talisman technique to attack you once, you won't object, right? Luo Yuanshan gave a disdainful smile, with just you? What a joke. I want to see what methods you have to hurt me. Then open your eyes wide and watch. Chu Tian held a talisman, his hands glowed with spirit energy. Most of his spirit energy was poured into the talisman. Z. The talisman was gradually activated, arcs of electricity were released. Everyone looked at each other in amazement, could it be a thunder-attributed talisman? Chu Tian suddenly waved his hand, the talisman was released in the air, it released a purple-red lightning, with an unbelievable speed, it suddenly struck at Luo Yuanshan. Was it really a thunder-attributed talisman? This kind of rare attribute talisman, there were not many people in Central State that could make it, no one thought that Chu Tian would take out this kind of talisman. Hong! The lightning struck Luo Yuanshan. Ha, 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 ha. Luo Yuanshan's entire body flashed with lightning. No matter how the lightning spread, it could not penetrate his protective spirit energy, a rare attribute talisman. How strong of an attack would it be? This kind of power is not even comparable to an ordinary level 1 talisman. Using such a low-level talisman technique, you want to defeat me? Chu Tian stood in place without moving. He began to count down, 10, 9, 8. Luo Yuanshan was bewildered. He was surprised to find that the surrounding arcs of electricity did not disperse. The arcs were interweaving, faintly forming a profound rune. What was going on? Although the power was not strong, this phenomenon was really strange. 3, 2, 1. Chu Tian's countdown was complete. Wah! What is that? Look at the sky. The crowd burst into exclamations. Luo Yuanshan looked up. A bald old face was reflected in the light, blue and white. He did not know when, but between the clouds above Luo Yuanshan's head, a large amount of lightning had gathered. Natural thunder and lightning. The power of heavenly thunder, its power was unfathomable. Luo Yuanshan felt a terrifying power lock onto him. A feeling of fear from the depths of his soul instantly enveloped Luo Yuanshan's body. No. No. Luo Yuanshan reacted. Want to escape? It was too late. A bolt of lightning finished brewing. It fell from the sky, piercing through heaven and earth, directly bombarding the square, very accurately striking Luo Yuanshan's body. That protective spirit energy was like paper, almost unable to withstand a single blow. Boom boom boom. The heavenly thunder split the earth. Luo Yuanshan's body was split into pieces on the spot. Nangong Yi revealed a look of horror. Luo Yuanshan was killed by a bolt of lightning. He was actually killed by lightning. Chu Tian looked at the ground full of charred corpses, coldly saying, Lightning Guiding Talisman is a level 1 talisman. By itself it is not strong, but it can attract a bolt of heavenly thunder. I had no intention of killing you, you only have yourself to blame. Yi Xiong and Du Jintian were almost paralyzed with fear. Chu Tian could actually summon heavenly thunder. How was this possible? What kind of power was heavenly thunder? Even a peak awakened soul cultivator would not be able to freely control it, but Chu Tian had done it. He had summoned heavenly thunder, directly killing Luo Yuanshan. Chu Tian's eyes swept across the crowd. If anyone dares to provoke me, I will bury several dozen lightning guiding talismans in their homes, letting them have a taste of heavenly thunder. This idiots today will be your group of idiots tomorrow. Overbearing. Crazy. Unscrupulous threats. Everyone felt their hairs stand on end. Not to mention several dozen bolts of heavenly thunder, even one bolt was not enough for them to endure. Actually Chu Tian was just scaring them. The level 1 lightning guiding talisman was amazing, but it still had many limitations. It could only be used in a thunderstorm, and it could only attract one bolt of lightning. The location of the lightning was fixed. Actually, if Luo Yuanshan reacted a bit faster, he would have left the area of the lightning guiding talisman, then he would not have been struck to death. How could these people think so much? Now they were all scared silly. Chapter 58. If it was said that Chu Tian defeating Li Changyun only gave people a deep shock, that level 1 talisman killing an awakened soul realm cultivator was enough to make people's hair stand on end. Was he still human? He was simply a terrifying monster. A trivial body refinement realm cultivator, a trivial level 1 talisman, could actually control the thunder and create such a shocking effect. Under the shroud of heaven's might, everyone present felt fear from the bottom of their hearts. Even Nangong Yi, who had the highest cultivation base, could not help but slightly tremble. From the depths of his soul, he felt a chill. If he was the target of the heavenly thunder, it would be hard for him to escape death on the spot. Luo Yuanshan was dead. A central state law enforcement elder had died just like that. The moment before the god of death arrived, Luo Yuanshan must have been filled with regret. For an ordinary family junior, for a little bit of benefit, he had given up his life. Yi Xiong's expression was very complicated, he was both frightened and angry. Although he had made the highest estimate, although he was afraid of Chu Tian, he did not hesitate to unite the four families and use their greatest strength and resources to deal with him. In the end, he never would have thought. He had underestimated Chu Tian too much. Du Jintian's face was even paler, his face filled with despair, his eyes filled with defeat. He had already realized, he had done a very stupid thing. His family's 1,000,000 gold coin factory, he had actually lost it. Chu Tian impatiently said, "Shouldn't the mayor say a few words?" Nan Gongyi seemed to wake up from a dream, he helplessly gave a bitter smile. There is no need to talk about the result, in terms of the might of the talisman technique, Chu Tian won without a doubt. Hong! The crowd was boiling with excitement. Everyone finally recovered from their shock and fear. I wasn't just dreaming, right? Why would the heavenly thunder strike the square? That's right, that central state awakened soul expert was actually killed by it. He deserved it. This is called retribution. Who told him to come to South Sky City and slander South Sky City's geniuses? That's right. Chu Tian really is a genius that only appears once in 1,000 years. This time our South Sky City will be famous. The way Chu Tian defeated Li Changyun was too technical, and most people couldn't understand it. This time's talisman technique competition was a direct result. Even an idiot could tell that the might of Chu Tian's lightning summoning talisman was 10 times stronger than Li Changyun's explosive talisman. It was clear at a glance. Was there a comparison? Those idiots who accused Chu Tian of stealing the technique were truly blind. In the entire kingdom, who else could display the might of a level 1 talisman to such an extent? Only Chu Tian. Although such a super genius was not well known at the moment, sooner or later, he would enter the main city, or even the royal city, and become a top figure in this kingdom. Would he steal the technology? This was pure shameless slander. Those who had been jealous of Chu Tian had a complete change of heart at this moment. Their jealousy had completely disappeared, leaving only deep admiration and admiration. Because a beggar would only be jealous of a beggar who was richer than them, they would never be jealous of a billionaire, the two were not even in the same world. Meng Yingying and Meng Qingwu's mood was also very complicated, the two of them were secretly disappointed. It wasn't that Chu Tian wasn't strong, it was that he was too strong, too outstanding. Zhang Liqing's old face was flushed red with excitement, his devout eyes were like a pilgrim seeing a god. What kind of godly technique is this? If this old man could learn even 1% of Chu Tian's talisman techniques, I would have no regrets in this life. Chu Tian took 2 deep breaths. 2 chances are over, there is still one more chance. Whether it is a raise, refining, or something else, no matter what it is, as long as you can beat me, my promise is still valid. Yi Xiong's face was gloomy and scary, he really couldn't think of a way to deal with Chu Tian. Chu Yi's face was filled with horror, how could Chu Tian change so much? Other than the appearance, it was like he was a completely different person. Could it be that he was a monster wearing Chu Tian's skin? This person was too terrifying. If he was alive, once he returned to the Chu family, he would be placed in an important position. At that time, Chu Yi would be in big trouble, even his family would be implicated. Chu Tian had to die. This person could not be allowed to return to Central State alive. Although Chu Tian's achievements in various fields were amazing, his cultivation was still too weak. He was first injured by Luo Yuanshan's explosive flame talisman, then he used up half of his spirit energy on the lightning guiding talisman, he was currently very weak. 3rd round. Let me go. I want to compete with you. The one speaking was Chu Yi. Li Changyun representing the Ye family, defeated. Luo Yuanshan representing the Luo family, defeated. 2 awakened soul master level characters were defeated. How could Chu Yi dare to challenge Chu Tian? Who would have thought that Chu Yi's right hand would pull out a 3-foot-long sword from his waist, holding it in his hand, the blue sword tip, pointed it at Chu Tian, angrily roaring, "If you are a man, then accept my challenge. This kind of words can even come out of your mouth." Nangong Yun said with a disgusted face, "I have never seen such a shameless person before." Meng Qinggu also walked out. "It was you who kept saying that Chu Tian's technique was stolen. Chu Tian also gave you 3 chances to prove yourself. First you lost in alchemy, then you lost in talismans, now you want to compete in martial arts? Let me ask, what does martial arts have to do with the source energy pot technique? Doing this, don't you think it's too much?" Meng Yingying fiercely rebuked, "Bastard! Aren't you just bullying Chu Tian's cultivation base not as high as yours? Moreover, Chu Tian's spirit energy is very strong and he is already injured. This is a sneak attack. What kind of challenge is this?" "That's right. I never thought that the dignified Chu family's child would be this shameless." The surrounding crowd began to denounce him. The public opinion completely changed sides. Chu Yi's despicable way of doing things made people feel disdain. "You clearly used the excuse of Chu Tian's betrayal to steal the clan's secret. Now, the crime of betrayal was not established, he could not compete with the other side, so he used the most direct method to suppress him. Wasn't this a joke?" This competition had already reached this point, there was no longer any meaning to it. Yi Xiong walked out and said, "Chu Tian promised to accept any kind of challenge. Alchemy and talismans are one field, could it be that martial arts and martial arts are not another field? The Chu family's young master wants to ask Chu Tian for advice on martial arts. It is fair and square, why can't it be done?" It was impossible to completely ruin Chu Tian's reputation. This matter had already developed beyond his control. Death. As long as he died, nothing else was important. If this kind of rare talent grew up, the consequences would be unimaginable. Yi Xiong wanted to personally make a move, but his identity was unreasonable. If he personally made a move, Nangong Yi would not sit idly by. The only person who had a chance to kill Chu Tian was Chu Yi. Although Chu Yi was not the most outstanding talent of the central state Chu family, he could still be ranked in the top 10. He had already awakened a trace of his source spirit, not to mention the fact that he cultivated the soul sword secret art. This soul sword secret art was said to be a remnant of an ancient cultivation technique. It was a great treasure of Central State City, it was the foundation of the Chu family. Chu Yi's soul sword secret art had already reached the small success realm, so his battle strength was not small. Chu Yi continued to provoke him with his sword. "What, now that things have reached this point, are you afraid?" Chu Tian gave a disdainful sneer, "You and I are from the same generation, if you dare challenge me, why would I be afraid? Bring it on, let me see the martial arts of the Chu family, just what is so special about it." He really accepted the challenge. "As you wish." Chu Yi gave a fiendish smile, his body released a strong killing intent, he suddenly pointed his sword at the sky, he looked up and roared, "Sword!" At this moment, Chu Yi suddenly released an incomparably sharp strength. This strength was sharper than a blade, stronger than a wave. The white spirit energy soared into the sky, it actually formed the shape of a blue treasure sword. Sword source spirit. The Chu family was a famous sword cultivating family, most of the family members had a sword source spirit. The sword source spirit was very strong, especially when combined with the Chu family's soul sword secret art, it was enough to sweep away cultivators of the same level. Of course, although it was a sword source spirit, everyone was different. Chu Yi had not truly entered the awakened soul realm, his source spirit had not completely awakened, he could only vaguely see a blue sword shadow. Blue represented wind. It was a wind-attributed source spirit. Wind's specialty was its sharpness and speed. Soul sword secret art, whirlwind slash. Chu Yi's lips curled into a cold smile, the sword source spirit fused with the sword in his hand, it suddenly released countless blue sword chi, it turned into a whirlwind of sword chi that wrapped around the sword blade. So strong. This is the Chu family sword art. Once Chu Yi made this move, everyone looked at each other in amazement. His source spirit fused with the sword, turning the sword chi into a whirlwind, it could attack the enemy, it could defend itself, it was invulnerable. The Chu family swordsmen, their reputation was well deserved. Could Chu Tian block this kind of attack? A few days ago, at the summit, Chu Tian only had the strength of the 6th body refinement layer, although he had displayed a strong battle strength, in front of an expert like Chu Yi, he could not even withstand a single blow. Chu Tian slightly narrowed his eyes, without any movement, he released his spirit energy, quietly covering his body. Everyone was surprised to find that Chu Tian's body was gradually glowing. It did not have the warmth of the sun, nor the coldness of the moonlight, it was like a starry sky, warm and dense, deep and mysterious, not long after it covered his entire body. It was like a thin layer of protective film, it was like a layer of starlight was woven into his clothes. It's the starlight immortal body. Meng Qingguo, Nangong Yun, and the others all recognized it. Could it be, Chu Tian wanted to use the starlight immortal body to resist the Chu family's sword art? He had only practiced the starlight immortal body for a few days, he hadn't even reached the small success realm. Chu Yi's soul sword secret art had been bitterly cultivated for many years, combined with his peak 9th body refinement layer cultivation, as well as his family's inherited sword source spirit, it could break through any defensive cultivation technique. Could he block it? Remember, the essence of the starlight immortal body is nurturing, not fighting. Chu Tian was covered in starlight, he was like a god, endless, starlight is inexhaustible, no matter how strong the opponent's attack is. Move as you wish, no matter how sudden the attack is, you will instantly form the strongest defense. He was actually lecturing. He did not place Chu Yi in his eyes at all. While Chu Tian was speaking, the wound from Luo Yuanshan's sneak attack was healing at a speed visible to the naked eye. The starlight immortal body was healing his wound. Chu Yi's anger was suppressed to the extreme. You want to humiliate me? Die. The arc-shaped sword chi was like a cyclone. The dust on the ground was instantly lifted up by an invisible force. In the end, it transformed into an incomparably huge arc-shaped sword chi. With the power of a whirlwind, it suddenly chopped toward Chu Tian. The might of this sword. An awakened soul cultivator's protective spirit energy was hard to block. Not to mention, Chu Tian was a body refinement cultivator. Facing this strong attack, Chu Tian did not dodge or retreat, both his arms suddenly pushed forward, he actually used his bare hands to grab the incomparably sharp sword chi. CSI. Everyone was scared silly. Using his bare hands to grab the sword chi. Wasn't this seeking death? The moment Chu Tian's hands grabbed the sword chi, the starlight in his body began to gather in his hands, his palms became crystal clear, it was like they were covered in a layer of light. The blue starlight was like dye, it instantly dyed the white sword chi, turning the entire sword chi blue and white. Pa! Just like breaking a piece of glass. The entire sword chi shattered in an instant, turning into millions of specks of starlight, drifting away with the wind in the air. Don't move, just use your intent, the intent moves the body to defend, the mind defends. Chu Tian's body was still covered in light, he calmly explained, the main point of the starlight defense is to break down, not to forcefully resist, it is to turn external forces invisible. Meng Qingguo, Meng Yingying, Nangong Yun, and the others all began to ponder. This was the might of the starlight immortal body. Chapter 59. Even if it was an awakened soul realm cultivator, it was still a flesh and blood body, not to mention a body refinement realm cultivator. Chu Yi's sword was not a normal sword, it was supported by the sword source spirit's power. The sword chi that came out was like a gale, fast as lightning. It could even cut through gold and iron. Could it be that Chu Tian's body was even harder than steel? Nangong Yi could see that Chu Tian cultivated a top-notch defensive cultivation technique. The spirit energy in his body did not need to be controlled. As long as it was activated, the spirit energy could be freely transformed, turning into a protective starlight at any time, counteracting external damage. With this shocking cultivation technique, he did not need to move his body, he only needed to move his mind. The mind could move his body, it was invulnerable. Before his spirit energy was completely exhausted, the starlight would always be there, so he could look down on people of the same level. It was a top-grade cultivation technique that could defend against sneak attacks. It was a top-grade cultivation technique. Chu Yi's eyes turned red. As expected, this cultivation technique is not inferior to a complete ancient cultivation technique. You had a fortuitous encounter and obtained an ancient inheritance. These words were not right. It was not an ancient inheritance, it was an inheritance from the future. I admit that I underestimated you. With this cultivation technique, you indeed have the qualifications to fight me. Chu Yi's breathing gradually became heavy, his eyes filled with jealousy. But, you are not my opponent. I only used 30 to 40% of my strength. If I used my full strength, you would have died without a doubt. Such a strong sword. Only 30 to 40% of his strength? Chu Yi had been taught by several awakened soul cultivators since he was young, using the best materials to build his foundation, practicing the most authentic cultivation technique, using the best resources to increase his strength. A person trained like this, how could he be weak? Chu Tian grinned. Hearing you say this makes me feel relieved. Actually, I only used 10% of my defensive strength. Stubborn duck. Don't be stubborn. Chu Yi's face was filled with greed. Hand over everything and cripple your own cultivation, I won't kill you. Chu Tian used cheap words to provoke him. That's too embarrassing. If you want to kill me, then kill me, don't hold it in. What if you get sick from holding it in? Come, I beg you to kill me. You asked for it. Chu Yi's eyes turned red again. He was so angry that he was about to explode. He roared towards the sky, sword. An indistinct shadow of a giant cyan sword appeared behind him, and a vast and powerful aura came head-on, causing Chu Tian to feel a lot of pressure. Indeed. This person had some ability. This was the difference between a big city and a small city, or the difference between having an advantage in resources and not having an advantage in resources. Compared to cultivators from small cities, large cities had the advantage of resources and connections. Thus, the quality of the cultivators they cultivated was usually higher than that of small cities. Chu Yi could not compare to Nangong Yun. Probably not much different from Xiong Tianyan. Although Chu Yi did not use his full strength, the spirit energy Chu Tian displayed was already at the 9th body refinement layer. That strange and tyrannical defensive cultivation technique could even block the Chu family's sword art. It would be best if he could obtain the ancient inheritance, but he also had to prepare for the worst. At the very least, he had to kill Chu Tian, lest he left behind a great disaster. Chu Yi had a strong intuition. If he couldn't kill him this time, then he wouldn't have another chance. Soul Sword's secret art. His sword source spirit suddenly lit up. Chu Yi continuously sent out dozens of sword chi. With an unbelievable speed, he released a small sword chi storm, storm style. Fast. Too fast. Chu Tian opened his hyperfocus state and instantly dodging most of the sword chi, but there were still 3 or 4 that landed on his body. Starlight body protection. Each sword chi that landed on him immediately shattered into countless starlights. So close. Everyone broke out in a cold sweat. If Chu Tian did not cultivate the starlight immortal body, even if these sword chi did not kill him, it would still be enough to heavily injure him. The starlight immortal body could offset the attack, but it also consumed a large amount of spirit energy. Chu Tian was not in his peak state from the start, not to mention that he was at the peak 8th body refinement layer. His spirit energy could not compare to the peak 9th body refinement layer Chu Yi. Ha, ha, ha. You're only so. I still haven't used my finishing move. It's too easy for me to kill you, it's as easy as turning my hand. Chu Yi wildly laughed while fiercely attacking. Chu Tian was clearly at a disadvantage. Have a taste of this move of mine. Soul Sword's secret art. Whirlwind scattered clouds. The sword source spirit released a strong cyan glow. The entire source spirit began to disintegrate. Countless cyan sword glows were released from the disintegration process, forming a tornado around Chu Yi. Kill. Chu Yi stood in the center of the tornado, brazenly slamming into Chu Tian. The high-speed revolving sword chi was like a meat grinder, crazily tearing apart the starlight on Chu Tian's body. The starlight quickly dimmed at a speed visible to the naked eye. Chu Tian's starlight protection had already been weakened to the extreme. Your defense really does have some skill. The Soul Sword's secret art is the strongest attack cultivation technique in Central State. Against me, you have no chance of winning. I'll give you one last chance. Surrender or die. Why did this grandson speak so much nonsense? Have you said enough yet? Chu Tian was already very impatient. He suddenly stopped dodging. Like a javelin, he stood straight on the ground. This little bit of strength. You have the nerve to say you want to kill me? Do you really think you're an expert? Are you proud of the Chu family's cultivation technique? Do you think the Chu family's cultivation technique is the strongest attack cultivation technique in Central State? Actually, in my eyes, you're not even worth a fart. Your Chu family's sword art can't even compare to a monkey's stick. You think I can't kill you? Chu Yi was filled with anger. If it wasn't for his cultivation technique, Chu Yi would have already killed him. Now that he had been provoked again and again, his patience had finally reached its limit. Chu Yi held his sword with both hands. The blade was covered in a layer of dark red energy. It was like a wave of fire. To kill you, a single slash is enough. Such a strong sword chi. Such a terrifying aura. As if it could cut through all living things. Chu Tian ignored the strong sword chi. His eyes flashed with a sharp light. Each word was like a gold nugget falling to the ground. He gave a sonorous laugh and said, "Ha, ha, ha, ha. This is your so-called unique skill. Good. I'll give you a chance. Father will stand here, I'll let you slash me." Everyone present was scared out of their wits. Stand here and let him slash you? What kind of arrogance was this? As Chu Tian spoke, the starlight suddenly rose, once again enveloping his body. At this moment, Chu Yi had already charged forward with his sword. A great pressure enveloped Chu Tian's body. This move again. Chu Yi sneered in his heart. After a series of tests, Chu Yi had grasped the strength of the starlight body protection. A swordsman, with sincerity, this was the profound meaning of the Soul Sword's secret art. Chu Yi had absolute confidence. He could definitely split it in one slash. Then with the influence of his faith, the might of this slash would increase several times. Over the years, the number of geniuses he had fought with was not small. Who could block this slash while being at the same level and still be able to retreat? What kind of thing did Chu Tian count for? Just a trivial 8th body refinement layer. Die. Die. Chu Yi released all his strength. The moment that the red sword glow was about to reach him, Chu Tian's starlight suddenly condensed. It was like a layer of crystal clear glass, very evenly covering the surface of his body. Chu Tian roared, "Scram!" The sword chi surged out. The ground began to crack. A crisp sound rang out. The treasure sword cracked. Chu Yi was sent flying 10 meters away by the terrifying impact. The sword broke. The sword's momentum was shocking, but it did not take Chu Tian's life, rather it broke the sword. Meng Qinggu, Meng Yingying, Nangang Yun, Xiong Tianyan, and Zhang Liqing, they all revealed excited expressions. This was the might of the starlight immortal body. What kind of abnormal defense was this? Although they already knew that the cultivation technique that Chu Tian taught them was not weak, they never would have thought that it would be this strong. Chu Tian let out a long sigh. The Chu family's sword art is only a so-so. The layer of crystal-like starlight that had solidified on the surface of his body gradually dissipated. Speaking of this, he really had to thank Chu Yi. If it wasn't for his help, Chu Tian would not have been able to grasp the glass immortal body so quickly. The current Chu Tian, although he had not reached the small success stage, he was not far from it. The remnant sword chi aura in the surroundings had all dissipated. Chu Tian, who was enveloped in starlight, looked like a powerful god. It made Chu Yi feel despair. Lost. He lost again. Chu Yi was at the peak 9th body refinement layer, adding the strength of the Chu family's soul sword's secret art. He still could not beat an injured Chu Tian. Chu Yi's full strength slash had landed on Chu Tian's body, but it had been broken by Chu Tian's sword. The disparity in strength between the two sides was too large. It was almost unimaginable. Chu Tian crossed his hands behind his back and coldly said, "The 3 chances have passed, what else do you have to say?" Chu Yi flew into a rage out of shame, "Go die." Chu Yi suddenly jumped up, throwing 4 to 5 talismans. Each talisman turned into a wind blade, fireball, poison mist, all of them flew towards Chu Tian's body. Chu Yi took this chance to pull out a dagger. This dagger was dark green. It was clearly a weapon that had been tempered in poison. It was like a sinister snake, fiercely stabbing towards Chu Tian's chest. Countless sword chi, all gathered together, condensing into the long sword. A sword chi pierced out. Like a white rainbow piercing through the sun. Chu Tian felt a strong sense of crisis. This sword had a strong killing power. The short duration of the glass immortal body's defense had consumed all of Chu Tian's spirit energy. Chu Tian already had no way to form that kind of defense. If this attack succeeded, Chu Tian would be in danger. Everyone began to curse. Chu Yi's method was despicable. He could not fight Chu Tian head-on, so he had to use this kind of despicable method. Too slow. Chu Tian opened his mind's eye, understanding the distribution of spirit energy in Chu Yi's body. His 2 claws were like iron pincers, grabbing onto Chu Yi's arm, pressing down on the weakest point of his spirit energy. His 10 fingers released spirit energy, sealing the meridians in his arm, then forcefully twisted. Kacha! Chu Yi's right hand was directly broken. He issued a pitiful cry, "You win. You win. I admit defeat." Chu Tian coldly said, "Don't you think it's too late to admit defeat now? I am the 4th elder's son. You dare kill me?" Chu Tian grabbed the dark green dagger, directly stabbing it into Chu Yi's chest. Chu Yi's eyes opened wide, falling to the ground, twitching a few times. He no longer moved. Dead. Chapter 60. The entire space was quiet to the extreme. Countless eyes were focused on Chu Tian. Everything between heaven and earth disappeared, leaving behind this miraculous youth. Li Changyun was half crippled and expelled. Luo Yuanshan was struck to death by heavenly thunder. Chu Yi was killed by Chu Tian on the spot. 3 battles, 3 wins, the victory was clean, there was no suspense, and the way he won was unexpected. In every competition, no one was optimistic about Chu Tian. Every time, the ending was unbelievable. Chu Tian was crazy, crazy to the end. No one could break it, no one could solve it. How many people in this world could do this? This was a true young genius. This was a true hot-blooded man. For a person to be crazy to this degree, it was no longer arrogant. This was self-confidence, an incomparably strong self-confidence. Why would a 9 heavens god need to be humble to an ant? Yi Xiong had caused a storm in the city. He wanted to use the power of the city's public opinion, to thoroughly trample Chu Tian into hell, to forever lose his reputation, to forever be cursed by tens of thousands of people. Who would have thought that he would lift a large stone and smash it on his own foot? Now everyone knew the true despicable face of the Ye family. Yi Xiong was facing a complete loss of his reputation. Nangong Yi could not contain the excitement in his heart. In front of everyone he announced, Chu Tian is South Sky City's genius. Who would dare say that Chu Tian is incompetent? Who would dare say that Chu Tian was born lowly? Who would dare slander Chu Tian? Chu Tian. Chu Tian. Those who slander Chu Tian, they deserve this kind of ending. Everyone seemed to be infected by this heroic spirit. They all began to shout out. Their shouts were like a tsunami. Nangong Yi let out a large breath of resentment. He glared at the people in front of him and said, "What happened to you? Weren't you all clamoring to cut Chu Tian into 1,000 pieces? Now what else do you have to say? Finished. Completely finished." Yet another crushing defeat. Du Jintian's expression was extremely awkward. He thought carefully for a few minutes, and as if he had made an important decision, he immediately stood up from the crowd. Seeing him walk out, Chu Tian smiled coldly and asked, "Could it be that Patriarch Du Jintian is unconvinced and wishes to challenge again?" "Stop joking. Wasn't the lesson from the past tragic enough? One of them had his reputation ruined, his cultivation crippled, and he was banished from the city. The other was killed on the spot, and not even a complete corpse could be put together. The last one even had an overwhelming advantage, but was completely counterattacked by Chu Tian, and died with a grievance. Was such a painful lesson not enough? Was it going to happen again? Moreover, the 3 challenges had already ended. What was the point of defeating Chu Tian now? With his own strength, Chu Tian had forcefully turned the tide and used an overwhelming method to launch a fierce counterattack. Du Jintian felt as if his face was being slapped repeatedly. Now it was almost swollen like a pig's head. His reputation was swept to the ground. He had lost all his face. Heavy losses. He had the image of a villain who framed a genius. If he had known earlier, Du Jintian would not have stepped into these muddy waters even if he was beaten to death. Young Master Chu, the whole thing was a misunderstanding. Du Jintian was the head of a family, so he had to be thick-skinned. The Du family was raised by himself, not like Yi Xiong who had the support of the central state headquarters. He couldn't fight anymore. He really couldn't fight like this anymore. Du Jintian endured the pain and took out a contract. Young Master Chu is a genius, how could he be a thief? It was me who was bewitched by some people's evil words and spread false rumors. I had eyes but failed to see and offended you. To express my apology, the Du family's mold printing factory contract, I ask young Master Chu to accept it. This contract worth 1,000,000 gold coins was handed over to someone else on a silver platter. This was simply cutting off his own flesh. Du Jintian had a sinister face 2 days ago, discussing with Yi Xiong how to get rid of Chu Tian. Now, his face changed and he gave in to Chu Tian on the spot. This was giving in to the strong. He was also forced to do so. Du family head's memory isn't very good. This factory was originally won by me. So it was originally mine. You fucking took my things and came to apologize to me. Who in this world apologizes like this? This, Du Jintian's face was filled with embarrassment. You almost killed me in the arena of the summit. Don't tell me Lord Du has forgotten about this? Chu Tian snorted and said, according to my temper, if someone wants me dead, I won't let them live. Let's talk it out, let's talk it out. Du Jintian wiped his sweat. This Du will personally clarify the facts to the media and make up for the loss of young Master Chu's reputation. I will also prepare a generous gift to apologize to Miracle Commerce. What do you think? Not enough. This Du is willing to give up all of his personal property to make up for his mistake. This Du Jintian had some courage. Chu Tian couldn't help but look at him in a different light. It was better to have one less enemy than one more enemy, not to mention he could still take advantage of it. Alright, since you're sincerely apologizing, I won't argue with you. But if I find out that you've done anything out of line, then don't blame me for not giving you face. Du Jintian nodded repeatedly, I don't dare, I don't dare. No matter what, the Du family was still a large family in Tiannan City, but now he was acting like a grandson. Yi Xiong couldn't bear it anymore and said, Du Jintian, do you still want face? The Du family is a small family, it's not as powerful as the Ye family. Du Jintian let out a long sigh and coldly glanced at Yi Xiong. Even though he hated Chu Tian, if it wasn't for this guy's instigation, he would not have done what he did today. Today, the Du family suffered heavy losses and it was all because of this idiot. I hope you rein in your horse at the edge of the cliff and stop doing stupid things. The Ye family was isolated and helpless. Let's go. Yi Xiong angrily rolled up his sleeves and left. The entire city was in an uproar, and the curtains finally fell on this farce. Yi Xiong combined the power of three families, but not only were they unable to do anything to Chu Tian, but they also allowed Chu Tian's reputation to rise to another level, and even allowed Chu Tian to fish up a large amount of benefits. Li Changyun abdicated. The president of the Alchemist Guild was most likely Xiong Tianyan. Chu Tian earned a total of 500,000 gold coins, harvested an entire factory, and even received all of Du Jintian's wealth. This, Du Jintian hurriedly said his goodbyes, it was most likely to be an emergency transfer of his valuables. How could Chu Tian give him the time? Du Jintian had just stepped back and hadn't even moved a few treasures when Chu Tian brought Nan Gongyun and Zhang Liqing and immediately came to confiscate his house. There was no other way. He could only give up. Chu Tian sent Meng Yingying, Meng Qinggu, Nan Gongyun, and Xiong Tianyan out, search the large houses for me, as long as you find anything valuable, even if it's a urinal, bring it out for me. The few of them were like they were injected with chicken blood, and impatiently rushed in to start a large search. Du Jintian's house was turned upside down. Finally, just the valuable crystals, beast cores, medicines, and pills, the total value reached hundreds of thousands of gold coins. There were several crystal cards with gold coins, and the total cash reserves reached hundreds of thousands. These were all assets that could be easily converted into cash, and if calculated, it would be around 1 million gold coins. What kind of concept was 1 million gold coins? Even if Nanyun Commerce sold everything, they might not be able to sell it for this much money. In addition, there were large amounts of rare treasures, luxury goods, and so on. The value was hard to estimate, but it was definitely not low. Xiong Tianyan walked out with a face full of excitement. 3 lives demonic insect. 3 lives demonic insect. We actually found more than 200 3 lives demonic insects. 3 lives demonic insect. Wasn't it the main ingredient for refining the qi refining pill? This kind of medicine was very rare, there weren't many of them in South Sky City, but they actually found several hundred in the Du family's house. Chu Tian was very satisfied with this batch of 3 lives demonic insects, we can refine several hundred qi refining pills to help our Nanyun medicine store open. Old Xiong did a good job, you've made a great contribution, there will be a heavy reward later. Xiong Tianyan revealed a look of ecstasy, many thanks, Chairman. Xiong Tianyan was a medicine fanatic, he was not interested in money, but he was obsessed with medicine. If he had the chance to learn 1 or 2 top pill refining methods from Chu Tian, it would be a great honor. Nangong Yun ran out from the back courtyard, leader, I found 3 white rhinoceros carriages in the beast pen, they are too beautiful. Can I borrow one to drive? I'll give it to you. Chu Tian was very generous, the other 2 are for Yingying and the young miss. Meng Yingying beamed with joy, I've wanted a good carriage for a long time, I didn't have the money to buy one before, I didn't think there would be one here. Meng Qingwu's mouth also hung a trace of a smile. The white rhinoceros was a very beautiful demon beast, its body was like jade, snow white and beautiful, it was especially suitable for women. Each white rhinoceros carriage cost over 10,000 gold coins, Meng Qingwu was reluctant to buy it before. In any case, it was free. This fellow's things, she could just take it. Chu Tian waved his hand, search. Continue searching. Today your boss is in a good mood, everything we find, we'll give you 1/10 of it. Once everyone heard this, their passion soared, it was like they were injected with chicken blood. Not long after, Meng Yingying's little face was red, her forehead was covered in sweat as she ran out of the room. Chu Tian, I found an underground warehouse, I found a lot of jewelry. Chu Tian nodded, load it up and take it away. Meng Yingying loudly shouted, yes. Du Jintian was about to cry. This was really a big loss. Even though it was Du Jintian's personal property, it was still years of savings. These people were like robbers, almost all the valuable things inside and outside the house were taken away. Even the jewels embedded in the bed were dug out. These people plundered everything and stuffed it all into Chu Tian's bronze bull carriage, unexpectedly filling up the entire carriage. Chu Tian looked at Du Jintian and asked suspiciously, your Du family has been in Tiannan City for decades and is one of the wealthiest families. As the head of the family, you should have at least millions of people's wealth, how can it be so little? Do you still have property that you haven't explained? Du Jintian almost spat out blood, clenching his teeth, no, it's all in here. Nothing. Do you think I'm stupid? Who would leave everything in their home? Chu Tian didn't care, his harvest was big enough. Du Jintian was still a character, he couldn't push him too hard, so he stopped while he was ahead. Let's write off all the grievances between us. I'll still say this, if I find out that the Du family has any tricks up their sleeves, I won't let you off lightly. Du Jintian also let out a sigh of relief. In the future, if he saw anyone from Miracle Commerce, the Du family would definitely take a detour. Chu Tian moved the carriage full of loot back. When the carriage was opened, all kinds of treasures came out, almost blinding people's eyes. Good. Very good. Instantly out of poverty. Chu Tian laughed with satisfaction. Yingying's hot pot city could earn tens of thousands of gold coins a day, but what use was that? It wasn't even enough for Chu Tian's basic training expenses. This was good. Luo Yuanshan's 500,000 gold coins crystal card. Du Jintian's home had over 1 million gold coins worth of cash and materials. This place could be converted to over 1,500,000 gold coins. In South Sky City, there were no more than 5 families that could take out this kind of money, even the mayor's palace couldn't take it out. There was also a pile of hard-to-calculate luxury goods. There was also a large amount of 3 lives demonic insects, the price itself wasn't that high, only around 1 to 200 gold coins. As long as Chu Tian refined it into a qi cultivation pill, he could instantly turn stone into gold, turning it into a pill worth thousands or even tens of thousands. Miracle Commerce was currently short on money. Chu Tian was also short on money for cultivation. This was good, he didn't need to worry about money for a short period of time. Chu Tian planned to raise Xiong Tianyan's strength to the awakened soul realm, then he would take the position of the Alchemist Guild's chairman. Xiong Tianyan's talent wasn't bad, it was just that he was obsessed with alchemy, so his cultivation growth was slow. Chu Tian only needed to provide him with a few supplementary formulas and he would definitely succeed. Yi Xiong wouldn't even dream of this. This time, not only did he not completely defeat Chu Tian, instead he allowed Chu Tian to explode in a short period of time. Chapter 61. In just a few days, Miracle Commerce had taken over the Du family's factory and was fully invested in the production of lamps. If this factory was fully operational, it could produce tens of thousands of lamps for Miracle Commerce every day. Miracle Commerce's productivity had increased by 10 times. Meng Qinggu began to wantonly purchase small factories and large amounts of raw materials. Southern Cloud Medicine Shop and Southern Cloud Symbol Shop had received large amounts of funds. They began to purchase workshops and directly recruited talents from the Alchemist Guild and Symbol Master Guild, preparing for their official operations. Miracle Commerce's development was very good. Chu Tian's prestige in South Sky City was even higher than before the storm. However, Chu Tian did not feel relaxed at all because the real trouble had just begun. Nan Gongyi personally came to visit and his first sentence was, "I've received news that you killed the Luo family's elder and the Chu family's outstanding heir. This matter has already been spread to Central State City." With these words, everyone was shocked. Nan Gongyi seemed to be very worried. "You've gained a lot of limelight, but you've also attracted the anger of the two families. So, your situation has not become better, but rather it has become worse. You have to be prepared for revenge at any time." Meng Qinggu's eyebrows knit together. The two families are not inferior to the Ye family. If they join hands for revenge, I'm afraid it will be hard to resist. "Elder sister, what are you worried about?" Meng Yingying began to have blind confidence in Chu Tian. No matter how strong they are still not Central State City's families. If they want to deal with Chu Tian, it will be too far. "You can't say that." Nan Gongyi gave a soft sigh. Chu Tian had attracted the attention of the two families before, but he did not receive much attention. It was only a small fight. If the two great families are truly enraged, the situation will be completely different. Nan Gongyi was right. The Chu family, the Luo family, and the Ye family. The four great families of Central State, which one of them was not like a hornet's nest? If a normal person stabbed any one of them, they would not be able to bear the consequences. Chu Tian wasn't polite at all. He didn't even go to the Central State and directly stab 3 of them. These 3 families were not to be trifled with. Their positions were deeply rooted and they had many awakened soul cultivators. It could even be said that experts were as common as clouds. Moreover, it was easy to dodge a spear in the open but hard to guard against an arrow in the dark. If they sent out assassins, it would be hard for Chu Tian to survive. The 3 families might also use Chu Tian as an excuse to suppress Miracle Commerce. This was a huge test for the newly born Miracle Commerce. "I'll write a letter to the family and ask them to send reinforcements." When Nan Gongyi said this, he suddenly paused, but King City is tens of thousands of miles away from here, and Central State Main City is only 1,000 miles away. Distant water cannot put out a nearby fire. Nan Gongyun frowned and said, "Then what should we do? We can't just sit here and wait for death." Meng Qinggu gave a suggestion. "We can hide Chu Tian first, this way we can avoid the most intense conflict. Even if we want to retaliate, we won't be able to find him." Nan Gongyi was the mayor, but his foundation was not stable. Under the pressure of the 3 families, if he chose to fight them head-on, he might even lose his life. If he could avoid direct conflict with the 3 families. Protect Miracle Commerce. Protect Meng Qinggu and Meng Yingying. Nan Gongyi was confident he could do this. Everyone was racking their brains to help Chu Tian clean up his mess. Chu Tian gave a long yawn on the side, as if he was about to fall asleep listening to this. "Young miss, didn't you help me get a black market pass? I want to go to the black market and see if I can find any useful materials. While I'm at it, what do you think?" Nan Gongyi was shocked. "You want to go to the black market?" Meng Qinggu quickly said, "That's not right." Meng Qinggu explained, "If you stay in Tiannan City, you can still be protected, but if you swagger out of the city, wouldn't that be playing into their hands? In Tiannan City, which Ye family doesn't have eyes? If you leave Tiannan City, it's impossible to not be discovered by them." Chu Tian laughed. "How could this be difficult for me? Wait a few minutes, I'll be right back." What kind of medicine did this Chu Tian have up his sleeves? After a few minutes, a green-robed youth hurriedly walked in. This little one is Lu Ren, greets the sirs. Who was this? This person was not even 20 years old, with thick eyebrows and big eyes. Apart from this, there was nothing special about him. He was simply an extremely ordinary person. If he was thrown into a crowd, he would not attract any attention. What a good name. He was definitely a passerby from head to toe. Meng Yingying walked in front of Lu Ren and stared at his eyes for a long time. She pinched his cheeks and pulled his hair, revealing a shocked expression. You're Chu Tian. Chu Tian laughed. My disguise technique isn't bad. Whether it was his height, body shape, facial features, or even his voice, everything had changed. This was a completely different person. How could there be such a powerful disguise technique in the world? Nan Gongyun felt that this was inconceivable. How did you do it? Chu Tian laughed, hee hee, with the help of some potions and a unique disguise technique. I'll teach you next time when I have the chance. If you walked out at this time, no one would be able to recognize Chu Tian. Let the mayor make up a reasonable identity for him. In an instant, he had become a completely different person. Chu Tian saw everyone's shocked expression and proudly said, remember, I'm called Lu Ren, a rogue cultivator. Because I accidentally obtained an entrance ticket to the black market, I went to the black market to try my luck. I don't know you and I have nothing to do with miracle commerce. Hi. Really hi. Like this, he could really deceive everyone. If Chu Tian stayed in South Sky City, because he often came in contact with Meng Yingying and Meng Qingguo, he could be seen through. But once Chu Tian left South Sky City, who would know of his relationship with miracle commerce? The black market is far away in the Yin Corpse Valley. Nangong Yi was a bit afraid of the Yin Corpse Valley. The Yin Corpse Valley is an ominous place. How much do you know about it? What was the black market? A special market outside of the normal market. If foreign merchants wanted to do business in the city, not only were the procedures very complicated, they also had to pay high taxes. The amount of goods was strictly limited to avoid disrupting the local market and harming the local companies. The number of caravans was strictly limited to avoid undercover agents, spies, or other people with bad intentions, using the name of traveling merchants to hide. Because of these kinds of restrictions, the black market was born. It was not under the jurisdiction of the city. Caravans from all over could freely transport goods, they could come and go as they pleased, there were no restrictions and no taxes. The local hot treasures, stolen or robbed, were not convenient to sell in the city, so they would be taken to the black market to be sold to merchants. Over time, the black market formed a large scale. Because of the frequent suppression of the kingdom, the black market did not dare openly establish itself in the wild, so most of the black markets were in inaccessible places, some were even built in extremely evil places. The Yin Corpse Valley was such a place. Nangong Yi gave a simple introduction. The Yin Corpse Valley is a famous ominous place in Central State. It is said that 5,000–6,000 years ago, it was the headquarters of a powerful evil sect. No one knows why it was suddenly destroyed. However, the Yin Corpse Valley is filled with traps. It is a very dangerous place. The black market was actually built in the ruins of an ancient sect. Chu Tian was very interested. Nangong Yi continued to introduce, the Yin Corpse Valley is most famous for its Yin corpses. It is said that the people that die in the Yin Corpse Valley, their bodies will not rot for 10 years, because they absorb the mysterious Yin energy, they will finally become Yin corpses. It sounds very terrifying. Meng Yingying revealed a frightened expression. Are the Yin corpses very strong? Although they are transformed by humans, they have already become demons, they have long lost their humanity, naturally they are incomparably fierce. Nangong Yi continued, Yin corpses are not living beings, their lifespans are unlimited, the longer the Yin corpse lives, the stronger it is. Nangong Yi introduced, A 10-year-old Yin corpse has a first body refinement layer cultivation, it is invulnerable, it has infinite strength, it also has corpse poison, its battle strength is not inferior to a second or third body refinement layer human cultivator. After that, every 10 years it evolves by one level. A 20-year-old Yin corpse is equivalent to a second body refinement layer, a 30-year-old Yin corpse is equivalent to a third body refinement layer cultivator. The Yin corpse valley is thousands of years old, so there is no lack of 100-year-old corpses, there are even 1,000-year-old corpse monsters. Meng Qingwu's dark brows knit together. People only knew of the mysterious black market, but they did not know that the black market was this dangerous. It was impossible for Chu Tian to bring a bodyguard, he could only go alone to the Yin corpse monster territory. How could they feel at ease? Yin corpses? This was a little interesting. Chu Tian was not afraid at all. This kind of thing, I know about it, you can be assured, I have a way to deal with them. He originally wanted to go to the black market to try his luck. This was not only a black market, it was also an ancient sect ruins. This kind of place was full of opportunities. If Chu Tian did not go take a look, how could it be justified? Nangong Yi saw that he could not convince Chu Tian, he could only helplessly give up, but Chu Tian was very resourceful, although his personality was a bit wild, he was not stupid, he should know his limits. The black market camp was at the edge of the Yin corpse valley, there would not be strong Yin corpses in this area. Chu Tian prepared for 2 days in South Sky City, his bag was filled with talismans, bottles of medicine and pills, his whole person looked like a normal rogue cultivator. Cash. First bring 500,000 gold coins. Changing it all to gold card, 10,000 gold coins each. This money was not necessarily needed, because Chu Tian had heard from Nangong Yi that foreign merchants did not necessarily accept the kingdom's gold coins, but it was better to be prepared, he could not bring less money. Preparations complete. Chu Tian swaggered out of South Sky City. He rode his horse all the way north. Chu Tian traveled day and night for several days. Finally he reached a small town called Black Stone Town. Black Stone Town was the closest small town to the Yin Corpse Valley. The entire town had less than 100,000 people, half of them were outsiders. If they were not disciples of influential families that came to the Yin Corpse Valley, then they were merchants or rogue cultivators that wanted to try their luck in the black market. After Chu Tian changed his appearance, he did not stand out in the crowd, he wandered around Black Stone Town, at the same time he inquired about the Yin Corpse Valley. Selling elixirs, freshly dug up herbs. Selling beast cores, high-quality beast cores. Black goods that just came out of the oven, if you want to buy it, quickly come take a look. Black Stone Town was not a black market, but there were many small traders in the small town. This was a remote town, with many people moving around, so the management was not strict, buying and selling was very free, many of them were stolen goods, if one was patient enough, perhaps they could find some treasures. Latest news. Latest news. The Great Zhou country's Black Moon Sect's caravan has just arrived at the black market, bringing large amounts of top-quality herbs, equipment, and cultivation techniques. They don't want the kingdom's gold coins, only corpse cores. As long as you have enough corpse cores, you can exchange for anything you want. When this news came out, everyone was very shocked. This country was called Southern Xia, it was only a small kingdom. The Great Zhou country was also a kingdom, but it was a large kingdom, its population and influence, it was not something Southern Xia could compare to. A Great Zhou country's sect came to Southern Xia, even if it was a normal thing in the Great Zhou country, in Southern Xia, it was a top-quality item that everyone wanted. Chu Tian's heart was very moved. He had to go to the black market as soon as possible. But entering the black market was not that easy. The Yin Corpse Valley's terrain was very complex and there were many traps, he might not be able to leave in 8 to 10 days, there was also the possibility of encountering danger, so it was necessary to find a guide, or find a companion that was familiar with the terrain. But where should he find one? Chapter 62. In the center of Black Stone Town, cultivators gathered. It was very noisy. The Great Zhou country's caravan released the news. Everyone wanted to grab this chance to exchange for some rare resources from the large country's sections. The Yin corpses were very strong. It was too dangerous to kill them alone. Therefore rogue cultivators formed teams with each other. This way they could take care of each other. Is young Miss Kai Dai recruiting team members? Although she came to the black market recently, with young Miss Kai Dai's strength and appearance, her reputation is not small. Now we're missing a spot. Should we go and try? Are you stupid? They're all abnormal. 4 of them are in the 9th body refinement layer. You're only in the 7th body refinement layer. Are you going to humiliate yourself? Shoo. Be quiet. Don't you see Ding Feng is here? Do you dare compare yourself to him? The cultivators who were eager to try all shrank their necks in fright. A woman and 2 men stood in the open space. The woman had a delicate long sword on her back, wearing a colorful palace dress. She had a gentle temperament, dignified and gentle. Although she wasn't a stunning beauty, her eyes were very bright, with a special charm. She was a very charming woman. On the left was a tall and strong man. His weapon was a giant hammer. On the right was a dark-skinned short youth. His weapon was 2 short knives, with a long bow on his back. The colorful clothed woman said to everyone, "Our team is missing a spot. We need to have a cultivation at the 9th body refinement layer." With these words, everyone sighed. In the entire Black Stone Town, how many people were at the 9th body refinement layer? The colorful clothed woman continued, "The corpse cores in the valley will be evenly distributed. Does anyone want to try?" While everyone was silent, a tall and sturdy man walked out, overbearingly saying, "Since these useless things don't have the guts, then the spot belongs to me, Ding Feng." He's the black iron palm Ding Feng. His black iron palm is very strong. That's right, we shouldn't fight with him. Everyone began to discuss. They seemed to be afraid of this person. Kai Dai felt Ding Feng's strong aura. She knew that she had recruited an expert. She tentatively shouted, "Does anyone else want to try?" Strength speaks here. Whoever is stronger will be chosen. Does anyone want to try? Ding Feng crossed his arms in front of his chest, his face filled with arrogance. "Young Miss Kai Dai, do you think there is anyone more suitable than me? Instead of wasting time on this pile of trash, it would be better to kill a few more Yin corpses." His words infuriated many people. How arrogant! Let me try. A muscular man jumped out with a blade in his hand. The sharp wind from the blade struck over. The blade light weaved into a brilliant flower, covering Ding Feng's body. Insignificant skill. Ding Feng's palms glowed with a metallic luster as he struck the blade, directly bending the fine iron blade. The burly man was horrified. "I've lost." However, Ding Feng did not stop there. Both of his palms struck out at the same time, landing heavily on the muscular man's chest. The sound of bones breaking could be heard. The burly man was sent flying 10 meters away. His entire chest had caved in, and he seemed to be on the verge of death. "This is the result of challenging me." Ding Feng laughed coldly and shouted, "Who is still not convinced? Get out here." Everyone was so frightened that they took a step back, all of them revealing expressions of deep fear. Amazing! This is the black iron strong strength palm technique? Ding Feng was a very famous body refinement rogue cultivator. Because of a fortuitous encounter, he had learned the black iron strong strength palm technique. Now he had mastered it. He could use his bare hands to block blades. His strength was not small. This person's nature was very cruel. If one understood him, they would not easily provoke him. The burly man was just asking for trouble. Kai Dai was a little dissatisfied with Ding Feng's ruthlessness. They weren't life or death enemies. Why did he have to make such a heavy move? But Ding Feng's strength, she still recognized it. Kai Dai's clear and gentle voice rang out. She did not want to see more people injured. "Your Excellency's palm technique is good. Your cultivation has reached the 9th body refinement layer. completely meeting our requirements, we welcome you to our team. Ding Feng received the beauty's praise, his heart was a little proud. How can these wastes be young Miss Kai Dai's companions? This spot, naturally belongs to me. Too arrogant and savage. Ding Feng was truly strong, everyone was angry but did not dare say anything. Ding Feng enjoyed this feeling of being revered by others. Just as he was about to swagger over, a young voice suddenly rang out from the crowd. Wait a minute. A very young youth walked out in front of the surprised eyes of the crowd. He was not even 20 years old, his appearance was very mediocre, but his eyes were bright and clear. Ding Feng stopped and slowly turned around, his gloomy black face revealed a trace of anger. Little brat, do you know what consequences you will have to pay for making me wait? Fuck. This guy was so arrogant. Chu Tian's sword-like eyebrows knit together, he clearly said, I think I'm more suitable to join this team, so please scram. Was he seeking death? A 10-year-old youth dared to say these kinds of words in front of Ding Feng. This youth was too impulsive, most likely angering Ding Feng. Kai Dai quickly tried to persuade him, this little brother, we only accept experts at the 9th body refinement layer, your cultivation base is not weak, but there is still a gap from the 9th body refinement layer. Didn't you just say, here we speak with strength? Chu Tian's voice changed, he said very strongly, I think here, I am the strongest. Everyone sucked in a cold breath. The sledgehammer-wielding brawny man next to Kai Dai grinned, this little brat is a little interesting. You dare be so arrogant in front of me? Ding Feng's breathing became heavy, his eyes sinister and terrifying, I don't know if I should admire your courage or your stupidity. Since you want to die, I'll help you. His palms began to emit a black iron luster. Dang! The black iron palm directly fell onto the youth's body. The youth's body released a clear bell-like sound. Ding Feng's palms did not hit a body of flesh and blood, but rather an incomparably large ancient bell. Scram! Chu Tian's body flashed with starlight. Wah! Ding Feng gave a pitiful cry as he was sent flying several feet. He received internal injuries on the spot, both his arms were broken, this made everyone present stunned. How shocking was Ding Feng's palm strength! His full-strength palm had hit the youth, but not only did he not kill the youth, he had instead received heavy injuries. Chu Tian did not even look at Ding Feng, his entire body was covered in a dreamy starlight, he directly walked in front of the rainbow-clothed woman, I'm called Lu Ren. Passerby. What kind of strange name was this? Kai Dai found it hard to hide the shock in her eyes, you should be practicing a high-level defensive cultivation technique, could it be you've already reached the large success realm? You can actually resist an attack from someone with a higher cultivation realm, you really are powerful. You have the qualifications to join us. Large success realm. It would be strange. Chu Tian's starlight immortal body had not even reached the small success glass body, of course this kind of shocking matter, it was better to hide it in his heart. When did this kind of person appear in Central State, why haven't they heard of it before? That strange defensive cultivation technique, they had never heard of it from their elders. I'm called Kai Dai, this big fellow is called Xiang Hu, this silent gourd is called Di Jian. Kai Dai was around 20 years old, she was a beautiful woman with a good temperament. Chu Tian stared at Kai Dai's face for 2 seconds, he revealed a pondering smile. This woman had actually changed her appearance, but compared to him, she was still lacking. Could it be that Kai Dai was an ugly monster? Did she change her appearance to make herself beautiful? Chu Tian secretly cursed in his heart, but he had no interest in exposing her. Didn't you say there were 5 people? There's still one more. The other one is called by Zimo, he has already entered the black market several times, so he is very familiar with the terrain. His cultivation is also the highest, he has reached the peak 9th body refinement layer. He is a famous genius in Central State City, he has done things like jumping levels, just like you. Let's go, we'll go see him. At the small town gate. Bai Zimo was wearing a gorgeous white silk robe, he had a long sword embedded with gems on his back, he had a jade crown on his head, his skin was white and clean. From his appearance, it could be seen that this person was not a rogue cultivator, he was probably from a noble family. Bai Zimo was a little impatient waiting. Why are you guys so slow? What are you doing? When he saw the young Chu Tian, Bai Zimo's brows wrinkled, he used a harsh tone to reprimand, I told you to find a helper, why did you bring back trash? He doesn't even have the strength of the 9th body refinement layer, he will only hold us back. This kind of waste is better off not having him. Tell him to scram. In this world, the strong were respected. Bai Zimo's tone was this arrogant, he most likely had some ability. Kai Dai revealed an awkward expression, Zimo, don't be angry. Little brother Lu Ren is a bit young and his cultivation is a bit weak, but his battle strength is not bad. He has cultivated a strange body protection technique that even Chu Feng's black iron strong palm could not break. Xiang Hu's tall and sturdy figure stood up, Brother Bai, we all saw it with our own eyes. When Chu Feng's palm came, little brother did not dodge, he used his body protection cultivation technique to injure Chu Feng. Humph, is that so? If that's the case, then Chu Feng is just a waste with an undeserved reputation. Bai Zimo said this, but his heart was filled with fear and jealousy. This brat was so young and could already fight Chu Feng, in a few years he wouldn't be any worse than him. Bai Zimo's heart was in a bad mood. Alright, since it's like this, I'll let you join us, at a critical moment you can be a meat shield. Let's go. Bai Zimo did not even look at Chu Tian, he turned around, we have to get to the black market before it gets dark. Kai Dai quickly persuaded Chu Tian, his personality is just like this, don't mind him. Xiang Hu also comforted him, that's right, Bai Zimo not only has a high cultivation, his family also has people in the black market. This kind of good background, a strong person, it's normal for him to be a bit arrogant. It's said that he's been in and out of the black market many times, with him leading the way, we can avoid the dangerous areas and arrive safely. Chu Tian slightly nodded his head. He didn't care too much about it. There was nothing wrong with being arrogant, but one had to know one's own limits and have basic principles. Although Bai Zimo's attitude was arrogant, his mouth was only a bit sharp, Chu Tian didn't need to fight him to the death just because of his tongue. Kai Dai, Xiang Hu, and Di Jian, these three were all at the 9th body refinement layer. Bai Zimo was at the peak 9th body refinement layer. Only Chu Tian was at the peak 8th body refinement layer. But the so-called genius Bai Zimo, his strength was at most similar to Chu Yi, although it was a bit troublesome to deal with, but Chu Tian didn't put him in his eyes. Outside of Black Stone Town, weeds and withered trees, dead silent and ruined, it was a lifeless scene. The silent short youth Di Jian spoke for the first time. Everyone be careful, there are several Yin corpses in front of us. This person's cultivation technique was very special, it seemed like he had a good investigative ability, whenever Yin corpses appeared, he would always be the first to discover them. From the rubble, several human-shaped monsters walked out, their bodies were surrounded by a strange Yin qi, looking very scary. Their bodies were shriveled and devoid of moisture, like dried corpses. Their bodies were covered in white fungal hairs, and their pitch-black nails were sharp and slender. Their eyes were a demonic green, and their twisted expressions were not mixed with the slightest bit of humanity. These were Yin corpses. The Yin corpses were divided into different levels, from the corpse hair, this corpse hair was a kind of Yin qi and corpse qi, body refinement realm Yin corpses were white, awakened soul realm Yin corpses were black. Someone once said that they had seen a blood-colored Yin corpse, of course this was only a rumor, the black Yin corpses were several hundred-year-old corpses, the blood-colored Yin corpses were at least several thousand-year-old corpse monsters, once the blood-colored Yin corpses appeared, not to mention the black market camp, Black Stone Town, even the nearby cities, would all suffer. From the Yin qi, it's at most 30 to 40 years old. Do it. Chapter 63. 30-40-year-old Een corpses, they should have been formed recently. Most of them were rogue cultivators, at most in the 3rd to 4th body refinement layer. They were not a threat at all. Di Jian took the lead, taking out 4 to 5 arrows. So. At a 45-degree angle, looking up at the sky, he shot them all into the sky. The black arrows fell straight down. The Een corpses did not even notice. Each of their heads had been pierced by an arrow, falling straight down. Fast. Too fast. Chu Tian couldn't help praising, good archery. Di Jian put away his bow, giving a friendly smile. He did not say anything. Bai Zimo crossed his arms and disdainfully taunted, this kind of insignificant skill, only people like you would think it's good. What are you standing there for? Are you going to watch the show? Go get the corpse core. Bai Zimo not only did not give Chu Tian face, he also embarrassed Di Jian. He even put on a commanding tone. This made people somewhat annoyed. Chu Tian was puzzled. You little brat, you really have a sense of superiority. I've already let you go once. You wouldn't think that I'm a spineless coward, right? Bai Zimo crossed his arms, coldly smiled and said, you don't seem convinced. Lu Ren, I'll go with you. Kai Dai was afraid of causing a conflict in the team. She pulled Chu Tian away. Bai Zimo, seeing this, his brows wrinkled even deeper, his eyes flashed a trace of annoyance. The others were all very easy to get along with. Only Bai Zimo's temper was too bad. Bai Zimo was indispensable, not to mention Bai Zimo being familiar with the terrain, knowing how to avoid traps and dangerous areas. With his strong strength, he could solve the problem for the team in a critical moment. With a strong teammate by their side, their hearts felt a bit more at ease. His temper. They could just endure it. Corpse cores and beast cores were different. The beast core was the source energy of a demon beast. When the demon beast was about to advance, it would condense in its body, so killing 10 demon beasts, obtaining 1 beast core was already good enough. Corpse cores were completely different. They were condensed from Een Chi and Corpse Chi. Every Een corpse would produce 1. Because of this, the Een corpse valley's production was very high. The cultivation techniques of the evil sects often required corpse cores to assist in their cultivation. In some special alchemy or refining processes, corpse cores were also an important material. Chu Tian did not understand the cultivation methods of the evil sections. The corpse cores would be of limited help to him. It would be better to collect them and exchange them for the materials he needed in the black market. The 5 of them continued forward. The Een corpse valley was filled with Een corpses, but up until now, the Een corpses they had met, their strengths were not very strong. Xiang Hu, Kai Dai, and Di Jian, they could instantly deal with the Een corpses. Di Jian's mobility was very strong and he was good at long-range shooting. Xiang Hu practiced a fierce and violent cultivation technique. He had a strong destructive power at close range. There was not a single Een corpse that could block his hammer. What surprised Chu Tian the most was Kai Dai. This girl's strength was not weak at all. Although her cultivation base was only at the 9th body refinement layer, her cultivation technique was very good. Her martial arts were also very rich. With the autumn water treasure sword in her hand, her battle strength was greatly increased, almost reaching the peak of the 9th body refinement layer. Young Miss Kai Dai was not an ordinary person. Whether it was the cultivation technique, martial arts, or equipment, this was not something a trivial rogue cultivator could have. Bai Zimo and Chu Tian had not made a move yet. Because Bai Zimo was the strongest, he needed to conserve his spirit energy, using it to deal with special situations. Chu Tian did not make a move because everyone thought of him as a strong meat shield cultivator. There were more and more corpse cores. They filled the entire bag. Xiang Hu excitedly said, we've almost collected 100 corpse cores. If we divide them evenly, we can go to the great Zhou country's black market caravans and exchange them for a good medicine or even a good weapon. Kai Dai's face was filled with joy. The long sword in her hand was as clear as autumn water, beautiful and moving. Now that we've entered the Een Corpse Valley, we cannot be careless, we must be careful. He did not even finish speaking. There was a terrifying howl in front of them. A bone-chilling cold wind, it was like an ice blade whistling through the air, making the hearts of the 5 of them feel a chill. Dijian's face changed as he said, "There is the aura of a high-level Een Corpse in the southwest." When everyone looked over, they saw a Een Corpse covered in mud, slowly crawling out of a hole in the ground. This was clearly different from a normal Een Corpse. Its body was not withered, rather it was very strong, it was covered in a dark green corpse poison, its fierce eyes stared at them, the terrifying killing intent made it hard for them to breathe. Xiang Hu felt his heart jump, this Een Corpse has the strength of a 9th body refinement layer. Een Corpses are invulnerable, they also have corpse poison, even if we're at the same level, it would still be difficult for us to be their opponent. Kai Dai felt a little nervous, she couldn't help taking a step back. By Zimo, you can easily deal with him here, I'll have to trouble you to make a move. No need to be anxious. Bai Zimo did not panic, he said in a joking tone, we still have one person, we haven't made a move yet. Kai Dai clenched her fists, she angrily said, Zimo, at this time, can you not be like this? Humph, young Miss Kai Dai, what are you worried about? I'm here to protect you, you won't be hurt. Bai Zimo crossed his arms in front of his chest, his eyes staring at the Een Corpse in front of him, he did not have any thoughts of making a move, I just can't stand some people who reap without sowing, mixing into the team, but never putting in any effort. This Bai Zimo was clearly targeting Chu Tian. What are you still doing? Bai Zimo said to Chu Tian in a condescending tone, this one is yours, why haven't you made a move yet? Een Corpses were at least 100 years old. A person at the 8th body refinement layer going to deal with them, wasn't that just seeking death? Een Corpses were good at using corpse poison, in close combat, they had to defeat them in one go, otherwise if they were infected with the Een Corpses' poison, they would die without a doubt. Een Corpses were demons, they did not have the weakness of living beings, they even had copper skin and iron bones. This youth's cultivation was not only weak, he was clearly walking the defensive path, letting him deal with such a powerful Een Corpse, wasn't that sending him to his death? Kai Dai angrily said, do you want to see him die? I told you, our team doesn't need useless people, it was you who brought him in, can you blame me for this? Bai Zimo coldly said, if he really dies, then that's a good thing, one less person means we'll get a few more corpse cores, right? Good, good. If you don't make a move then forget it. Kai Dai couldn't bear it, Lu Ren, let's go together. Xiang Hu also couldn't stand Bai Zimo's conduct, I'll also help. Di Jian did not say anything, but he used his actions to show his stance, he took out a black arrow from his back and prepared to fight. Bai Zimo revealed a trace of anger. That's right, he was purposely messing with this brat. Who told this brat to have such a strong strength at such a young age? Chu Feng was not a simple person, he could easily defeat the 9th body refinement layer Chu Feng with his 8th body refinement layer cultivation, his talent was even higher than his own. Bai Zimo's nature was very proud, so he was very arrogant, he couldn't stand others being stronger than him, because of this, he didn't like this brat from the beginning. So what if his talent was high? Even geniuses could easily fall. Who would have thought that Kai Dai and the others would dare to go against him, ruining Bai Zimo's plans? Chu Tian gave a slight sigh. How could he not see through Bai Zimo's thoughts? This kind of person had no tolerance, narrow-minded, afraid of competition, no matter how high his talent was, he was doomed to not have any big achievements. No need to trouble you, I'll give it a try. Chu Tian's legs kicked out, like a phantom, he quickly rushed out, his toes stepping on a rock, he immediately shot out like an arrow. When the Een Corpse saw this, the corpse poison on its body became even thicker, its claws were filled with black qi, it roared as it charged at Chu Tian. Quickly come back. You can't deal with it alone. Kai Dai and Xiang Hu's expressions changed, Di Jian quickly pulled out his bow. Chu Tian took out a talisman in midair and poured his spirit energy into the talisman, immediately activating the source energy array. Entering hyperfocus, he dodged the Yin corpse's claw and slapped the talisman onto the Yin corpse. The talisman turned into a white spear. It pierced through the Yin corpse's chest, coming out from its back. Go! This spear of light pierced the Yin corpse's body, actually pinning the Yin corpse to the rock wall. It is reasonable to say, Yin corpses were not afraid of normal injuries, but this Yin corpse let out a mournful howl. Its body was covered in smoke, like it was on fire. In a short while it turned into a dried-up corpse. Di Jian's bow was only half drawn. Because Chu Tian's movements were too fast. Rushing out like lightning, skillfully avoiding the attack, releasing the talisman technique, breaking the enemy in one move, it was like he had practiced it thousands of times. It was simply too smooth. Such a strong 100-year-old Yin corpse was actually killed in one move. Kai Dai's face was filled with shock. How did you do it? Chu Tian dug out the corpse core and walked back. I have a light attribute talisman technique. The light attribute has a special killing effect on Yin corpses. Bai Zimo's eyes flashed with anger. He coldly said, Humph, using external objects to fight, what is there to be proud of? I really feel disdain for you. Kai Dai was very disappointed in Bai Zimo. She never thought that this fellow would actually be such a narrow-minded person. No matter what, Lu Ren killed the Yin corpse. The difficulty of killing this Yin corpse surpasses the sum of the Yin corpses we've just killed. You have nothing to say. Bai Zimo's face sank. He did not say anything. However, at this time, Di Jian suddenly shouted out in horror, this is bad. There are many Yin corpses nearby. We've been surrounded. As if it was to set off his words. In all directions of the canyon, the mournful cries of the Yin corpses came at the same time, from the caves in the ground. From the caves, Yin corpses kept crawling out. Each one was filled with a dense ghost aura, their faces fierce. The majority of them had a strength of the 7th or 8th soul layer. Bai Zimo's face changed. I've walked this road many times. How could there be this many Yin corpses? The Yin corpses were in a deep sleep most of the time. Only under certain circumstances could they awaken en masse. At this moment, in all directions of the 5 of them, there were close to 100 Yin corpses, and each one was not weak. Ao! Ao! A terrifying roar suddenly came from above them. On the cliff that was around 50 to 60 meters high, there was actually a Yin corpse wearing tattered armor. This Yin corpse was not only strong, the corpse aura around it had already turned a faint black. It was clear that the poison was even stronger. The most terrifying thing was this Yin corpse's hair, half of it had already turned black. A terrifying existence that had already evolved into a black Yin corpse. In other words, this Yin corpse's strength was very close to an awakened soul cultivator. Because of the Yin corpse's unique advantage, even though it had not reached the awakened soul realm, its strength was already at the first awakened soul layer. This is bad. If it was just 100 normal Yin corpses, with the 5 of them working together, they could still deal with it, but now there was a Yin corpse that was close to the awakened soul realm. How could these few people deal with it? Bai Zimo's eyes flashed. He immediately said, Waste, now is the time for you to show your usefulness. Your defense is strong, you can block it for a while. As long as you attract its attention, I'll kill it. Chu Tian's defense was strong. Could he block the corpse poison? Not to mention, Chu Tian was only at the 8th body refinement layer. This Yin corpse's battle strength was not inferior to an awakened soul realm cultivator. Why would Bai Zimo want Chu Tian to protect him? He just wanted Chu Tian to stall for time. He wanted to take the chance to escape. Chu Tian gave a cold smile in his heart. He suddenly thought of something and said, Don't be anxious, there seems to be another person in our team that hasn't made a move yet. Kai Dai, Xiang Hu, and Di Jian all looked at Bai Zimo. Without a doubt, among the 5 of them, only Bai Zimo, who was at the peak 9th body refinement layer, had the ability to temporarily block this Yin corpse. You guys. Bai Zimo's white face turned red. Chu Tian then said, "Our team does not need a person like you to reap without sowing. So, please make your move." How familiar was this sentence? Wasn't it just a few minutes ago, he had said it to Chu Tian? At this time, the Yin corpse let out an angry roar. From the 10-meter-high cliff, it directly rushed down. This Yin corpse's target was very clear. Bai Zimo's cultivation was the highest, it would attack Bai Zimo first. Damn! Bai Zimo roared. He pulled out the long sword on his back, a beautiful sword glow, stabbed at the Yin corpse. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.